Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome everybody to the AFC North Outlook. By the way, we didn't reshuffle this. I'll reshuffle it later. Hey, there you go. I think it's like this. There you go. Done quickly. Welcome everybody here to the AFC North Outlook. I have echo, but I don't know if it's just me.
Yeah, no, I hear the echo as well.
No, it might be me. So I'll
Okay.
Thank
you everybody to come. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, bro. Doing good. I mean, we're in the off season. We're in between. I feel like we're at the midpoint between free agency and the draft. Like we're gearing up for draft season, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Listen, it's QB evaluation season in Pittsburgh. We just got off of a QB Pro Day week, and the Steelers attended every single one. So
every single one.
They did. No, they went to all five of the top quarterbacks in this class. Mike Tomlin or Kevin Colbert was at all of the pro days. So,
well, how would you rank this QB class? Since I mean, I haven't checked any of them out.
It's pretty trash. I mean, let's just be real.
I know it's not the best, but I guess for Tony, like, if you had a wish list, which one of these quarterbacks will either fall to 20 or you will go get?
I would go get Willis. To me, Willis is the only one that I think I would be like. If the Steelers draft him, I'll be comfortable if they get Willis. Everyone else, to me, like when I watch them on tape, and they're just obvious flaws that, it stops me from believing that they'll ever be the kind of quarterback that could win you a Super Bowl. I guess the two that I'll say, like, I'm coming around on are Kenny Pickett and Ritter.
The Pittsburgh boy. You're going with the Pittsburgh boy.
Yeah. Pitt. Well, I mean, like, look, it goes back to like the flaws that we thought were there for Joe Burrow just didn't, they didn't matter at all. And so, you look at Kenny Pickett, and I know the comparison is, it's a lazy one because you're saying, oh, well, first, 1 year guy who like out of nowhere just came out and was a star for one season. And you're like, well, then Kenny Pickett's the exact same thing. And that is true. But I think the better comparison is probably more of like a Mac Jones type situation. Where I think, people are talking about Kenny Pickett and like, look, he had a great receiver in Jordan Addison who made a ton of great plays for him. And, it was, he was in a down year for the ACC. And then you Mac Jones, what were all the things that were said about Mac Jones last year? Oh, come on, Mac Jones, look at all the talent he had to play around in, he had a great defense and yada, yada, yada. And then Mac Jones last year was like the best quarterback. So that's how I don't love Kenny Pickett. That's how I talk myself into it. But like I said, the only guy I really love in this class, I think the only guy that you really can love in this class is Malik Willis. Everyone else is your quarterback crapshoot.
I heard the fake slide is what sold you.
The fake slide. Listen, they banned. Hey, the Kenny Pickett rule. They banned it. Give him credit for that. Give him credit for that. He invented a rule.
It's wild to me.
You very rarely see a quarterback invent a rule, but he invented a rule.
It's wild to me, right? Because like even when we compare him to like a Mac Jones, right? Mac Jones at least did what he did in a still very tough SEC, right? And especially in the SEC West. Not Mac Jones, but Kenny Pickett did what he did. Finally got over 13 touchdowns. Like he had like abysmal, just really not even mid numbers, just very mediocre numbers. And then the 1 year Clemson's unranked. The 1 year, like it's like Boston College and Pitt duking it out. Yeah, he turns into a good quarterback. Still lost the game versus Western Michigan in a shootout at home. I don't know. Like to me, like with Kenny Pickett, I would like to ask people this question when you're considering Kenny Pickett. How much would it change your mind on Kenny Pickett if he had transferred to the American 10 conference or whatever they call it, right? Wherever Houston and Cincinnati is, right? If he had done that there, does that change the math on Kenny Pickett, right? Because essentially what the ACC was this year was not really the true Power 5 that it usually is. It was a around 5 conference, right? It's like, Big 12, not even Big 12 level. There was no Oklahoma this year, right? It was like, maybe the Pac-12, if not a little bit lower than that. It was definitely the worst Power 5 conference of college football this year. And the fact that he chose to blossom this year in that 1 year where they were down, and let's give Mac Jones credit, let's give Joe Burrow credit, like they made the college football playoff. It's obviously not hard to do that at LSU, well, at Alabama especially, but at LSU, Joe Burrow, yeah, he had the one good year, but he did it against elite competition, and then was even more elite when he got to the elite competition, right?
Yeah.
When he had to play the big boys. That playoff run, SEC championship, you combine those 3 games, that's a whole season for Kenny Pickett. That's almost Kenny Pickett's all 3 of his years before that last year's numbers. Joe Burrow got in 3 games.
Now, I don't remember
his career.
I don't remember how Wentz and Allen were before their year that they got drafted.
Well, Wentz was always good because he's at North Dakota State, so he was always going to win a bunch of games. And he actually beat some Power 5 teams when he was at North Dakota State. I believe he beat Iowa State while he was there. So Wentz, that was never an issue with him. Josh Allen, the bet on Josh Allen was never his tape on the field. It was always about his physical ability and how much promise that had, right? It was never about the tape, and that's what pushed people back on him was his tape.
With the small hands, was that
Kenny Pickett's small hands, right? So he's you're drafting him off of production. Yeah, so you're drafting him off production.
Whoa, guys, are you guys seeing this on Twitter right now?
No, it's on Twitter.
Lamar Jackson has requested a trade. Are you guys seeing this? Yeah, are you guys seeing this? Yes, Lamar Jackson is being reported right now by Ian. It's on Rap Sheet's Twitter right now. Everybody go and look.
We did hear from the
we have to go check. Did I irrigate this?
I mean, what are they doing? Is it really going to be this backup guy? Is that really what you guys are doing?
Wait, let's make sure it's not Rap Sheet with 2 P's. No. It's got the check mark.
That's him, bro.
Dog,
Sonny, are you ready for a Tyler Huntley future?
Huntley, bro. Tyler Huntley is about to be taking snaps.
Dog. What's Lamar's trade value? It's got to be what, 4? Well, no, you can only trade 3-1.
Can't be 4. It's got to be the same deal that what's his face just went for, Watson.
Wow.
You could take 3 entire draft by.
Yeah, you can only take 3, so they have to start with at least 3.
You want 3 Mike Dickas is what you want? You want 3 Mike Dickas?
Yes.
I would go with 3 firsts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. That's crazy.
So what's the ranking of the quarterbacks in the division right now? If Lamar Jackson
with Lamar out
is traded, does that mean that
obviously my dog is number 1. This guy right here.
Look, show it off.
Old Magic Mitch. Number 1, obviously. I
just realized that's a Magic Mike reference. I'm tapped out.
He does. Rachel Trubisky has a type. I don't know if you've seen that tweet.
Okay, obviously Ace is pulling a prank here on April Fool's Day.
We did get half of chat to check, though. I mean, half of chat was in on that one.
What?
I mean, of all the April Fool, like Lamar came out like a day ago or 2 days ago and said like, "I love the Ravens," blah blah blah. And the whole contract. Let me parenthesis here for a moment. The whole contract situation looks like. I mean, I think I said it last time that I think Lamar was basically waiting for a bunch of people to get done. And what Steve Bisciotti alluded to was basically like, we're ready to talk, but we haven't heard from their camp. Like, they're not eager right now to make a deal. We don't want to push it. Essentially, is what he said. So for all those people and I know Q, and I know I forgot somebody on Twitter was like, "Oh, Q's here, right?" and tag Lamar Jackson and basically trying to poke that bear. And obviously,
I want him gone, dog. I don't want to play against him no more. I'm tired of it.
But I think what it ends up being is, for whatever reason, Lamar Jackson is not ready, or maybe he basically said, "I wanted all these people to get their contracts done," and like we talk about in August, essentially that's what happened with Mark Andrews last year. There was no talk, and then August came, and boom, deal was made like in a week. So I could see it like that, but it looks like it's Lamar Jackson driving the stalemate
Yeah.
more than
You
the
know what
Ravens.
though? You know what I love about Lamar Jackson? Like just watching him, observing him as a person. He's really the Marshawn Lynch of quarterbacks, right? Where Marshawn never had to change a thing about being Marshawn Lynch ever in his life. It was the most beautiful thing in the world, right? Like I'm reading this business statement Marshawn Lynch put out. You know how statements usually are, right? Oh, we are excited to bring in this out. Here's Marshawn Lynch's literal statement. Yeah, I'm always about joining the NFLPA ambassador program. I'm always out here trying to make the most out of my time and opportunities. You feel me? Marshawn Lynch said in a statement. Like, I feel like if Lamar requested a trade, he would put up a GIF and be like, "Yeah, I'm out," and then it would just be it. Like, he's not going to Kyler Murray this thing or Baker Mayfield this thing where he puts his middle name in there in this professional statement. That's why I like Lamar. I just like how he handles business. Like he just goes straight up with it.
Okay, I get him not wanting to talk about his contract, until certain deals get done. Now the Deshaun deal got done. What else? But what else is out there that he's waiting for at this point?
Kyler's deal.
More.
Kyler's deal's not coming this year. They don't. Yeah, because Kyler's after Lamar, so they got another year to wait.
But it wasn't a whole situation with him and the Cardinals about that contract, so he might get that deal like in the middle of the season.
Q's right. Kyler Murray is literally pushing for a deal now. Now the Cardinals
pushing for it now.
Yeah, the Cardinals are saying, "Well, f you. We don't want to do a deal right now. We're gonna wait," which they should. In my opinion, at least until this year.
I thought something changed there because at first when they told him F you, he took down all of their stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then he put it back up, which made people think there was a deal coming.
No, I think
he also released that statement.
He released that statement, which honestly, he made you want to pay him less. It's like, all right, well, we were going to pay you 45, and it went down to 37.5 because of that statement.
I think you gotta fire your agents if I give you this much money because your agents are terrible. What is this font that they use for this statement?
Herbert's deal's not coming.
Cardinals basically said
Burrow's not coming.
Herbert and Burrow can't even be done until next season.
Yeah.
He might be waiting for Kyler, but I don't think Kyler will. But the problem is, let's say this. Let's say that he thinks he wants to wait for Kyler Murray because he saw that Kyler Murray is pushing for a deal this year, right? And he says maybe Kyler's gonna make a little more, and then I can make whatever a little more over that. But the problem that Lamar Jackson has is, and I don't blame him for not having an agent, right? I'm not one of those like, oh, he doesn't have an agent, right? But what an agent can say right now is that deal ain't getting done. Might as well go get your money now, right? Because the agent might know in the ends, right? It's like, no, this team is not doing a deal right now with Kyler Murray at all. That's stalled. But he doesn't have that insight, right? With his mom being the agent. He doesn't have that insight. So he might be waiting to see. This is why when everybody's all wrapped up by this deal for Lamar Jackson, I've been like, I don't see no animosity, right, between the Ravens and Lamar. Lamar came with a statement like, no, I would love to come, my goal is to keep being a Raven, blah, blah, blah. And the Ravens basically are saying, like, we're just ready to negotiate when Lamar's ready, right? So everybody seems to be like, yeah, we want to get this done when the time's right. Why is the time right now? That is the question, which I don't know. I don't know the answer.
The time is right. The time is right now because it's $23 million. It's $23 million that you can't move around in cap space that he's eating up, right? So the time is now to do the deal so you can get that money down. Otherwise, you're going to have to franchise him next year. I think with Lamar, if I look at Lamar's version of this, are we sure that he's waiting until, some random point in the future like Kyler Murray's deal and then it's like, okay, I'm ready to go to the table? Or is he waiting because he thinks he's going to have a monster year in 22 and he knows he's going to get franchise tagged and he can make this deal in 23? Like,
what else can he do to raise his value other than like winning the Super Bowl? Like he already has MVP to his name. He's gonna get 2 MVPs to his name. Yeah, I think. Well, also like one of the things logistically we have to look at, right? Because the whole reason the Apple Cart's been upset by the Deshaun Watson deal is because of the $230 million that have to go in escrow, right? So a lot of owners do not have liquid cash like that just sitting around, right? Like Steve Bisciotti, he's a tech guy, right? I don't know where he has his money.
He has a couple of different businesses, so I think he does have some of that cash. He probably does.
Yeah, he probably has like cash there, but he didn't expect to have that much cash on hand for the Ravens, right? Jimmy Haslam, he a booster and a oil man at the end of the day. Jimmy always got that money for football. He spent that money on Tennessee like every year. And when it comes to like having that kind of money available on hand, it just takes a while to move pieces to make sure that you can
Yeah.
do that. And it's just an adjustment that's going to have to be made, right? If Lamar wants that guarantee, he's probably going to have to wait like probably to the middle of the year to get that money just because of some logistical things that have to go. I don't see any lack of motivation from the Ravens to get this done or lack of motivation from Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
No,
and I don't like
there's a lack of
the
motivation on Lamar's part. He won't answer their call.
I don't like that it's being painted because Lamar Jackson has his mom as an agent that they're the ones holding it up, right? Because there was the report that came out that Lamar Jackson wanted Pat Mahomes money, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they can't get in touch with Lamar. Lamar can't get in touch with them. It just doesn't make sense to me because you have Pat
it's
Mahomes'
not that they
contract.
cannot get in touch. What the Ravens have alluded is basically we had initial conversations and their camp hasn't been ready to do a deal. They haven't said that they're not willing. It's more like they're not. They haven't.
Is it that they're not accepting the deal that was on the table?
Well,
or
no,
a deal ever presented.
Well, because Lamar hasn't come back. Like the Ravens would have alluded that Lamar could have been like, no, I just think I'm worth more than whatever they're offering me, right?
It might be one of these things where Lamar's like, I'm gonna just wait till I'm back in Baltimore.
But to be there, like if his mom is his agent, it's not like it's a Richard Sherman situation where Richard Sherman is his own agent. He doesn't. Yeah. Lamar doesn't have to be there. Like they can look. Lamar can be anywhere, and his mom can be negotiating with the team, and they can say, "All right, we're gonna do this deal or not." Like, why would they be negotiating straight up with Lamar?
Yeah,
and the one thing to Ace's point is like they could agree to terms through Zoom. You know what I mean? Like the idea that like, oh, because they don't want to meet in person, like Lamar does not need to meet Steve Bisciotti, right? Like this is not like when the Browns have to fly over to meet Deshaun Watson and everything else and talk to him. Like they don't have to meet each other; they know each other, right? So look, it's probably a money thing. It's probably Lamar has a number he wants. The Ravens have a number they want. They're playing hardball right now, and once they're in the building with regular basis, they'll figure this whole thing out because it looks like none of them have any desire to have the player play anywhere else, right? So this is going to get handled there. I think a lot's being made out of this situation for very little that's really out there with Lamar Jackson. I just will take any opportunity to get Lamar Jackson out the division that is possible because look at what this man has done. He has pookie scooped us twice. He has thrown 4 interceptions and still beating us. Like I'm over the whole Lamar Jackson versus the Cleveland Browns experience. I will opt out. Yeah, I'm tapping out Raven fans. I don't want to play on no more.
Well, I think this though. Look, okay, yes, I agree. It shouldn't be a great worry today, and it is that time of the year where we're kind of inventing stories because we need something to talk about. But can we all agree that if we get to week 1 and Lamar Jackson is starting opening day and he is still playing on a 5th-year option and he does not have a long-term deal, then we can all agree, like, okay, something's going wrong.
Gets weird, right? Like if he actually plays a single snap under that 5th-year option, now this has begun somewhere like. Because it's one thing when Baker plays a year on his 5th-year option where people aren't sure about him, right? Sure. There's nothing to question right now about Lamar Jackson, right? Like that quarterback never gets to his 5th-year option without a new deal. So yeah, if it gets to that point, then it's actually something to do or something to talk about. But until then, it's just fun speculation that we could do to mess with Raven fans a little bit. By the way, shout out to Raven fans. I think we're at 3 Photoshops that y'all had that didn't come through for y'all since the last show. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to that 4th one. I've already seen the Tyrann Mathieu Photoshops. Y'all not getting Tyrann Mathieu. Y'all not getting anybody. Y'all don't ever get
They're not even trying to get Matthews, but
that's what I'm saying.
Oh, there's somebody. There was someone.
I heard they were in the market.
Keep doing the Photoshops. Y'all been doing the Photoshops for every wide receiver. How many Julio Jones Photoshops have you seen in the last 3 years, Sonny?
My favorite, the AB Photoshop.
The AB one always comes
real,
up.
That could actually happen.
That could happen.
Nah, man, that was going to happen. That would have happened. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's the
what Lamar's holding out.
Maybe that is the holdup. That is the clause in Lamar's contract.
Lamar, like, look, I'll take $5 million less, but you got to sign my homeboy.
AB has to be on the team.
No. All right. One more thing.
By the way, I will say this.
AB's coming.
I will say this. Last year, we inducted Derek Carr into the Homeboy Hall of Fame. If Lamar Jackson holds out just to get AB on the team, Lamar Jackson, he was already a candidate to the Homeboy Hall of Fame. Strong candidate. He does that. He is in a gold jacket. First day. Yeah. First ballot Homeboy Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. One more before we move on here. Is it a bad look that the Ravens gave Harbaugh an extension before Lamar?
I don't think one doesn't have to be. It really doesn't matter. I don't think.
Well, You know,
No,
it's like,
but-
hey, listen, we're willing to give
again,
John, you know,
we're
let's
not we're
keep
not
you around.
we're not
Lamar.
in the conversation. But if it is that Lamar has been basically being the holdout, right?
Mhm.
Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
to
that.
him,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Do
right.
you
Now,
think
this is
it's
where
the one
we
thing
need
I want to
Ed's-
add to that is there any kind of leverage play from Lamar, just playing devil's advocate, where he's in communication with Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray, and these guys already kind of know what they're looking for?
Oh, it's
It
like
might.
it's like that old you know how
might
the
know.
Bosch and LeBron and Wade got together. Like this all started at All-Star game or
Hey,
whatever.
Hey, what are you getting? What are you guys asking?
Exactly, but they're all just it's like
Hey,
price
so what you're
fixing from the player's
suggesting
side.
is a
Which,
cartel.
We
That
should
is a
have like a
cartel.
quarterback group set
exactly.
or something.
But it's the kind of cartel that you like. You know what I mean? Like we can all get together.
You know what I mean? It's a cartel for the people, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, it's a working man cartel. It's still a cartel. No. What Raven fans need to worry about. Look, I joke, but AB is actually one of his friends, right? And you don't want
Yeah,
Antonio
yes.
Brown being there, like, bro, they handle
No.
Ronnie Stanley and Marcus Peters
Stanley
and
was
Marlon Humphrey. Why they handling everybody else before they handle you? You the franchise. But
I
if that
can't
was me,
expect this clip to be on Twitter now, right? And we're tagging Lamar Jackson again.
I'm
you
telling
know,
you.
look, imagine
Kanye
how
is gonna be
Antonio
at
Brown would
M&T
feel.
and with a thing on his head in the crowd. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
Okay, let me read some.
You know what we need?
stats.
We need Lamar's homeboys to come out with pictures with the Pay the Man shirts. That's how you know you in trouble. With one of the star players, like the Jalen Ramsey situation with the Jaguars when he came to camp in the Brinks truck. It's like, oh, this is the last year of his contract and he's not coming back no more. Like that's how you know that situation's about to pop off. So somebody need to make them shirts. Pay the man and then put them in Lamar's circle. You know what I mean? Let's start the controversy.
A Colin here says, gun to your head. Would you rather sleep with Vegeta or Piccolo? Also, everybody's favorite
outta
player in the
here.
draft
Bulma?
of the show.
Definitely
It's the
Bulma.
only one without a hat.
Okay. Yeah, I am the only one without a hat because well, Ace's hairline ain't bad, but Tony,
Non-existent.
you, Tony,
Hairline
Tony,
left me 20
Tony
years
retired
ago.
out the league a long time ago,
That's
brother.
right.
He he came home.
I just cold right now. Very
Come on,
cold.
but if you ask me who my favorite player in the draft is, it's a tie between Perrion Winfrey and Jordan Davis. It's no surprise here. I always like on defense, and I like what I like on defense, which is big, strong dudes who could go really fast on the football field. And that's what Jordan Davis and Perrion Winfrey is, physical guys.
Apparently, before we got live, I was telling the guys here my top 3 right now, which was Davis, Tony, the center from Iowa,
Lindebaum. Tyler Lindebaum. Short arms on a center.
And the other guy,
Rashad Slater was good last year.
T-Rex playing center there,
Okay,
Wonder how he made it this far.
the other guy that I like, but I have a weird vibe is the Oregon dude, which I can pronounce Thibodeaux or whatever.
Thibodeau.
Oh, Thibodeau.
Thibodeau? Okay.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
so
from Louisiana. He got to be if he got that last name, right?
So who he gives me vibes, which is not good. Another Oregon Duck. Another
There's been so many of them that have busted out. Deion Jordan.
Yes.
What was the other one? The dude who went to San Francisco, Buckner, right? Like there have been
started
so
with Joey
many.
Harrington.
Buckner's good though.
Buckner's all right.
Joey Harrington.
Well, he was like the third pick in that draft, right?
Oregon players. Joey Harrington.
No, he was the 7th. But
I'm saying like the Oregon Ducks have this thing where like they'll have these defensive linemen that are like incredible, like long, athletic defensive linemen, and then you draft them, and it's like, oh,
look at Jordan's, because I remember watching Jordan's tape, and I was watching this dude's tape, and Jordan's tape looked amazing. I would have sworn that Jordan was gonna be good, and then this dude looks the same. I think it's my mental thing. Like when I saw the guy, remember somebody said, "Oh, check this corner, Elam from Florida." I was like, "No,
I wasn't.
I don't need to
check." Kyrie was good. Listen, okay, his brother's not good.
Not a
he's
fan.
Good. No,
it's just some players that you got to be out off principle. Yeah. Like I'll never draft a Manziel coming out of Texas A&M ever in my life.
I can't draft a corner that won't tackle in the AFC North. That's not happening.
There's certain traits that just bring back flat. Like I'm pretty sure there's an Artie Burns like player that Tony's never gonna want to draft again.
Especially if he comes from Miami. Right?
Now, I don't think Elam is going to be trash. Don't get me wrong, but no, I do not want him for the Bengals, like in the AFC North.
See, my thing is, here's my okay. I get what you're saying, and you're probably right because the Steelers have the exact same mentality when it comes to corner. But here's my thought on it: if you're drafting a corner to tackle, you're evaluating the position wrong, aren't you? Like, I don't want my corners to tackle because they should be so good at defending. That they
that's valid. But what are running backs taught to do? They're taught to get to the edge to get on corners because corners aren't going to be able to tackle. And so when you got Nick Chubb and you got your boy with Najee, I don't want to do that. I still have flashbacks of William Jackson and Le'Veon Bell running up against the sideline, and William Jackson just like, oh, here you go, straight up.
But
touchdown.
the game is, if Nick Chubb is already to somebody in the 20s, it's a wrap anyways, dog.
Yeah.
Like you was giving up that touchdown, no matter if that was Charles Woodson out there trying to tackle him. Well, Charles Woodson might make the tackle. He's more of a safety. But yeah, it's just. Tackling is probably the least important thing. Like Greedy Williams and his inability to tackle has not ever really been an issue with him. It's more.
That's not true. Every time he tries to tackle, he gets a stinger and he's out for the year. So
that's one thing with him. But the issue with Greedy Williams on the field is more or less his ability to get lost in zone every time he's ever in a zone. Right. That's what frustrates you about him. Him missing a tackle on a tight end, you just chalk that one up to the game. Like that's just Greedy gonna be Greedy, right? But you can live with that. You can't live with him getting lost in zone.
Nah, for us, it's just Dre Kirkpatrick. We had it for a while. We had a lot of people that just went to the boundaries and our corners couldn't make tackles. And it just killed us in the run game. And that's been one of the differences for Lou is that he brought in corners that could tackle. So a lot of those plays that we've seen in the past haven't happened. So when I see that, I'm just seeing like, oh, Dre Kirkpatrick, oh, William Jackson III, like these guys that couldn't set the edge. Like you don't want them to be your first line of defense, but when someone bounces it out to the end, you want somebody that can at least do something.
Bring it down. Yeah.
I get your point. Also, I think another thing matters. If you're drafting somebody to be a number one corner, I really don't care how they can tackle because they're never going to be in the box, right? They're probably going to be chasing somebody downfield as a decoy route, even on a run play, or doing that. You know how they do it?
Not in the box. I'm with each other. On the boundary.
Well, I'm even saying, like, even on the boundaries, like, it's very rare that your number one corner is actually going to have to make a tackle there, right? But when it comes to like other corners, if you think he's a 2, or especially if you think he's a nickel, it does matter if he can tackle. Also, it matters how fast and how athletic your edges are, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Carlos Dunlap being there solved a lot of those issues for Cincinnati, and like it was.
That's one of the reasons they traded.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know Carlos could get to set the edge like that. I don't know, but like if like Jadeveon Clowney, for example, like the Browns had that same issue where they had problems with people running towards Greedy's side. But if you had Jadeveon on that side, it alleviates that because you just can't get to the edges easily, and even when you do, it's an easier tackle for the corner. So there's other ways to mitigate those issues with the corner. And again, if you think he's like I could care less if Sauce Gardner can tackle, right? I don't know if he can. I don't think if people think he can, but Sauce Gardner is clearly the number one corner. Yeah, but you know what I mean? So Sauce going to be down the field most of the time if you just have him following a player. Like it's very rare that you're going to have him just caught in the middle of the box during a run play. So there's like a difference in it. It depends on what kind of defenses you run too. If you run like a lot of 4-2-5, it might matter. If you run like straight up 4-3, 4-4, like 4-4.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him being in the box. I'm talking about on the outside. Like when the running back runs it out and bounces it out to the outside.
Yeah, I'm saying like by the time it's mute point anyway.
Joshua here says, hot take, Hayden Hurst will have a career season because he finally has a chance as a starter. Also, Joe Burrow is throwing to him.
Is that a former Raven?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
That's the guy they drafted before Lamar Jackson.
Yep. I love Hayden Hurst.
Just disrespect Lamar. They drafted Hayden Hurst.
Oh, my God. There we go.
That's why Lamar should want out. I agree.
They treat you like you steal the 32nd pick, man.
And what are they trading for? Like a 3rd round pick?
No, the second.
Second?
They got a second for Hayden Hurst?
Yeah, second. That's how we got J.K. Dobbins.
That's a win. That's a win. I would say it's a win for Steve.
We'll see how J.K. looks this year.
What did Hayden ever do for them? Well, Hayden was decent with them. Hayden was decent.
Sonny, we got to pay some bills here in a second.
Yes. I'm going to finish this one because Nova Stone always has to bring Tom Brady.
There it is.
Costa never goes all out and never wins, unlike Tom Brady. And with that, Tony, let's play some bills.
Tom Brady, by the way, coach killer. Yeah,
by the way, he's so annoying that Bruce Arians saw that he was coming back. Like, baby, I can't do another year. I gotta go back to the booth and start glowing about Baker Mayfield. That's what Bruce Arians is trying to do.
Right. It's like, hey, you're probably gonna win another Super Bowl now. And it's like, nah, I can't even. Like that sounds nice, but working with Tom to do it can't.
No.
What would Tom Brady feel like, right? If Bruce Arians came out of retirement next year to coach Baker Mayfield, like, dog, what?
He goes to Carolina.
Yeah, he goes to Carolina. This is the guy I want to coach.
The coach against Brady. This would be a great story. Let's let it happen.
Oh boy.
All right, let's pay some bills here. We got to talk about our friends over at Manscaped. Fellas, have you started spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing. Spring has sprung, and the global leaders in below-the-waist grooming have the best tools for cleaning aisle 5 in your pants. Time to clean out your winter bush and join the other 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the promo code AFC North Talk. That's AFC North Talk, all one word. Manscaped has the full package you need for spring cleaning this year. The Performance Package 4.0 is the only tool you need to keep your boys looking and smelling fresh, like the fresh tulips your partner wants. To start off your spring cleaning, use the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer to get the most precise shave on your hedges. Did I mention it's waterproof as well? Clear your holes and smell the spring air with the Weed Whacker. The nose and ear hair trimmer provides a proprietary skin-safe technology, which helps prevent nicks, snags, and tugs in those delicate holes. After cleaning your nose, make sure to get rid of that foul ball smell with the Crop Preserver and Crop Reviver. The Crop Preserver is a anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, and the Crop Reviver is a spray-on toner for your balls. Keep your boys from sticking to your leg and leave them smelling like fresh flowers. Finish off your grooming routine with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on your face, because if you're using Lawnmower 4.0 on your balls and your face, you're doing it wrong, boys. The start of spring also means the start of Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Manscaped has partnered with Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. Smell oh so fresh and so clean this spring, and check yourself before you wreck yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code AFC North Talk. AFC North Talk at manscaped.com.
Okay, we have a couple other super chats here. Ravens are the only team constrained by cap. Scared. Look, I'm gonna say something. I know Tony knows this because I remember him watching my video of EDC last year after the Orlando Brown trade. I think EDC is a solid GM. Ravens fans, I know you think EDC is the next coming of Jesus. I think that was the wording I used last year too. The guy is good. We don't put him there because what has he done to this next level thing? I think he's a solid GM. I don't think he's Ozzie Newsom. And I think he does good things, but I think he strikes out a lot. The one thing people like, I think Ravens fans like about EDC is he likes to take a little bit more risk than Ozzie did. Ozzie was more risk averse. So you will see Ozzie used to trade. Like this pick 14, if it was Ozzie Newsom, guarantee right now we wouldn't pick 14. We'll pick whatever later.
Yeah.
EDC might trade up. But yeah, I think he's good, but he's not, like I said, the next coming of Jesus, as some Ravens fans like to think he is. And like I said, I was super upset when he traded Orlando Brown, not because he traded Orlando Brown, because I think that trade was going to happen regardless. It was what he got for Orlando Brown, how that trade was constructed. I thought that was all BS. So yeah, I'm not here being the biggest fan of EDC.
Yeah, I think one thing though, when we're evaluating like how much cap space you have, I think just looking at the raw numbers sometimes is a mistake. It's look, the salary cap is a myth is something that people say all the time, but the reason why the salary cap is a myth is because everybody's money is fungible, right? Yeah. You can move it around. Look, everybody talked about after the season was done. Oh, the Rams, man, the Rams. I mean, yeah, sure they won a Super Bowl, but they are in cap.
The Saints were like 20 something.
Yeah, and look at the Rams now. I mean, the Rams just signed Bobby Wagner to a 5-year, $60 million deal
50.
That they just gave this guy. I mean,
it
again,
feels like the Ravens are the only franchise in the NFL paying their taxes, and everybody else is doing all this tax evasion because like everybody else gets to spend however much money they want in a given year, giving quarterbacks extensions to save money on cap space. We live in a wacky cap world.
I think
And the Ravens are out here like we try to be diligent and responsible
They're the
about our
only
financial situation.
if not the only, they're one of the very few that haven't done any voidable years on any contract.
yeah.
They're one of the very few teams that haven't done that.
And they have 2 contracts right now that I think are, questionable, let's say, right? Or like they can't move the money. They can't move the Lamar money because he's in the 5th-year option. They need to get that extension done. But when they do get that extension done, this is why you shouldn't worry about the Ravens and total cap space. Because whenever they get that deal done, his number is going to come down in year 1. And the other deal is the Ronnie Stanley deal.
$10 million overall cap hit because like every team gives that $1 million in year 1 that Deshaun Watson got. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you have like $40 extra million or something like that.
Right. So then the Ronnie Stanley deal is now this is one that in any other year they would push the money going forward, right? Because he's worth like 18.5 on the cap, but that number could be halved. But they can't do that because I think there's worry there that like is Ronnie Stanley is he going to
back year of injuries? Yes,
is he going to be the same?
This is a big prove it year for Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah,
if he's healthy and goes back to being Ronnie Stanley, then the deal for Ronnie Stanley looks cheap based on what the tackles are making.
Right.
If he is injured again, then you might not see Ronnie Stanley after this year in the Ravens uniform.
But they can still move Marlon's money around. I mean, the Ravens will be fine when it comes to cap space.
No, they're fine. They're just not betting. They're just not betting on the market like every other team in the NFL is. Every other team is moving money around by just straight up betting that the money's going to go up, right? The line's going to go up. The Ravens are like, I'll just play this like everybody used to do it. And in some ways, it makes them look behind. But who knows? It might make them look smart in the long run of it. But that's just how they choose to play it. Some teams are playing this risky, like the Browns. Browns are playing this risky. The Rams are playing this risky. The Saints are playing this risky. The Packers are playing this risky. A lot of teams are. Teams like the Steelers and the Ravens, they're not going to play it that risky. And I'm pretty sure that the Bengals aren't going to play it that risky, right? Like some teams are going to bet with the market. Some teams are just going to be like, hey, we're just going to actually use the cap space.
Yeah, I think talking about the Bengals and Steelers, I saw some of the Bengals numbers. Like everyone in year 1 has a really low cap hit, right? I mean, the Bengals were super, they had a big free agency haul, but none of it's like big money this year. Steelers the same way.
Signing bonus, right? With that's what they did with Ben. They would just extend him and then signing bonus that.
Yep.
Mr. Whispers here says, I keep hearing from draft sites that this draft doesn't have a lot of true 3 technique D tackles in it. Do y'all feel that is accurate?
I don't.
I don't think so. I think you got Devontae Wyatt, Lil Winfrey, Garrett.
Well, it's like, they're not traditional 3 techs because all they can do is not just play 3 tech, right? Like you got some bigger boys in here like Travis Jones, like Perrion. Well, not Perrion's not big. My bad. Like Jordan Davis, who can move around a little bit, right? Yeah. So they're just more athletic at the position, which makes them harder to pigeonhole. But the way that defensive lines are moving, I mean, we've seen Myles Garrett play 3 tech more than like a handful of snaps in the game. Like he's played when they play the Steelers, he almost exclusively plays 3 tech sometimes. Like, so I think they're just moving guys in and out. The weight requirement for 3 tech also has gone down, right? People used to think that you had to be 310 to play 3 tech in the NFL in the 4-3. They're drafting guys that are 270 now. So like Logan Hall is a true 3 tech now in today's NFL. He's at 280, right? Like he's not a big dude in traditional standing. So I just think this is one of those situations where, remember how the NBA used to not have power forwards and centers? Like we were like, oh, there's no centers, there's no power forwards. There's just 7-foot guys who could do everything now, right? Like that's where the league is just moving to a more positionless place when it comes to the defensive line. And I think draft experts are catching up to that, and they're still trying to put guys in holes where, that's just not where defensive linemen exist anymore.
It's a great point, and it's something that, like, remember 7 years ago when the spread started to become a huge thing in college, and everyone was like, "Oh, the NFL's screwed. They're never going to have a good quarterback because all these quarterbacks don't know how to play real football. All they do is this spread
We
stuff."
always
Marcus
assume
Mariota.
that the league's never going to change, right? I was watching a clip about Cam Newton and Andrew Luck, which one's going to be better back in 2012, and everybody here, it's like Michael Smith, Bomani Jones, and I think was it Nick Wright? or somebody like that. It was somebody. I don't think Nick Wright ever worked for ESPN, but it was somebody there that like was like a traditional ESPN guy. And they were all making the argument that Cam's going to develop into a pocket passer and that he's not going to run for the rest of his career, not knowing that running would just become the standard, right? It's funny to me that like in the presence, our ability to understand that things are just going to change is so limited that we just assume that something as small as the spread offense is going to destroy the entire NFL rather than the NFL going, well, we could just run the spread. Right. And then it like, just works, right? Like now we way past the spread. We do RPOs, all kind of stuff. So like it's interesting to me, like how we always get to that point. And this is a perfect example of it where people are like, there's no more 3-techs in the NFL. We had a crisis. Like, no, the definition of a 3-tech has just changed to being positioned.
Yeah.
Before I read this one, by the way, make sure you hit that like. We have 340 something people, like 50 likes. So make sure you hit that like. That helps us a lot with the algorithm on YouTube.
If you think your team's going to win the division, hit the like button.
There you go. I like that. Hey, guys. Love the show. Well,
man. We got to have Raven fans like to hit the
They're going to have Huntley now. Remember, Lamar's getting traded.
If you think a team could make the playoffs this year, hit that like button. Now we got Steelers fans able to hit the like button, too. You know what I mean?
Come on. Listen, we are listen. This division is a wrap, son.
Can you give me
I bet Joe Burrow is shaking in his boots right now because Mitchell Trubisky is in the building, right?
Primetime matchup, week 1, Joe Burrow versus Mitch Trubisky. That is Hollywood right there.
That is exactly what the NFL has been waiting for.
Listen to this question. Can you give me your best and honest prediction the standing on the AFC North? Ace, who they? I would say this will be the way too early, right? Because draft hasn't happened.
Right.
This will be the way too early.
But by way too early right now, I would say Bengals, Ravens, Browns, and we don't need to talk the fourth.
Yeah, I think the top 3 at this point are interchangeable, right? Because these teams are all, I think, evenly matched at the top 3. The Steelers are the wild card. I don't think that they're going to be bad, right? But they just don't have the quarterback to match with the top 3.
So making sure the shirt
for now that could change, right? They go up and get Malik Willis. That changes. Then it kind of adds to it. But for right now, even though I like what the Steelers have done, you look at the quarterback position, that's where it starts at and ends at for me. So they're the 4th, and I think those 3 teams are interchangeable.
I think that, the thing for me is, there's still so many answer questions for the Steelers quarterback situation. Although I think it will be Mitch. I mean, even if they draft Malik, I don't think Malik starts this year. So maybe in that way, like you do know Mitch is going to play. And then I think that the other thing with the Browns is how long is that suspension for Watson? Because I think if it's
true, that's a
wild
card. 4
teams and it comes down to 2, then that it's basically almost a non-factor as far as their ability to make the playoffs. Just maybe it keeps them out of the division, perhaps. If it's 8 games, then they could finish 4th if it's 8, right? So
that's a good point. That Tony, I just want to piggyback off of that. If Deshaun Watson is suspended and Baker Mayfield isn't the quarterback, who's the better team between who's left in Cleveland, Quincy? Who is
Jacoby Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett?
Yes. No, I'm hibernating.
Sleeping on Jacoby? Actually. Wow. Wow.
I'm in hibernation mode.
Wow. We're going to just sleep on Jacoby Brissett. Back in number 7.
Jacoby. I like
okay. I see how it is. No.
Don't slip on Mitch Trubisky. He did go to the playoffs.
No. I have not been sleeping on this Mitch Trubisky.
Won the division.
Team. I told y'all that the Steelers will be in first place by the end of week 8. They will be in first place and they will be hyped. They will not end in first place, but they will be in first place. Ultimately, I think this division is going to come down to a rejuvenated Baltimore and the Cincinnati Bengals, right? I think those are the 2 teams going to have the consistent firepower throughout the year to be able to have this, right? The Browns could be anywhere, right? They could finish 3rd. They could finish 4th. They could win the division, right? It depends on how things shake out for them. I have done this long enough to where I'm not underestimating the amount to which things can go wrong with the Cleveland Browns. So I have learned over the last 4 years, right, that things can go wrong. It don't take much. So I'm just going to say it's going to come down to Baltimore and Cincinnati. I really feel confident about Baltimore's ability to bounce back. Cincinnati, I don't know, man. I feel like Baltimore got some receipts to get back on y'all because y'all been violent towards them boys ever since y'all blew them out twice. And it doesn't seem like the Ravens have forgotten that y'all blew them out. Embarrassed them, quite frankly,
No,
2 times.
They forgot. Because they're
525, right? That's what Joe Burrow threw for, right? Was that the 626 game with Jamar Chase too?
Everybody was hurt. From what I heard, both times, both games, everybody was hurt.
And then you gonna hear it if the Ravens win that next matchup. See, everybody was hurt. Wipe that for the record books. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see those two. But I think this whole division is going to be quite interesting throughout the year. I don't think the Steelers are going to be this bad team.
No, I don't think they're going to be a bad team. No,
they're still going to be a very tough team. Yeah, they still got TJ Watt.
People got mad at me for trusting the Steelers with Mitch Trubisky more than the Raiders, and I'm like, the Raiders and the Chargers, and I'm like, I just don't trust those teams over.
Dog, he won 8 games with Duck and Mason Rudolph.
Saw it.
Yeah,
So I saw
Victor Trubisky is an upgrade from that. Like, you know what I mean?
It's just though. Okay, can I? Okay,
but that defense was like much more elite than it was.
Let me add this. Yeah, because I don't want to compare that because I do think that defense was better than the current defense.
But the current defense is still good though, right?
Yeah.
And also, I wouldn't rule out that they could get a defensive tackle in this draft and just rejuvenate that whole thing. Like, what did they do get Jordan Davis at 20 or wherever they had?
What I was gonna add is, let's assume this is the same Steelers team than last year, right?
Stephon Tuitt is still there, right, Tony?
Yeah, he's coming back.
He just was hurt last. Don't forget, he was hurt last year.
I know, but what I was gonna say is, do we think Mitch Trubisky, the last thing you saw from Mitch, is worse than what you saw from Big Ben last year?
No,
well, he had a shoulder injury.
No, I don't think so. I think are you saying like Mitch Trubisky from the Chicago Bears being worse than Big Ben last year?
Yeah.
I think it's like the same thing.
Hey guys, he had a labrum. He had a torn labrum, guys. Last time we saw him, he had a torn labrum. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's not fair. And he did make it to the playoffs, though.
You
know what I mean? Yeah. So in the NFC, granted, but
Mitch Trubisky can throw farther.
Well, you definitely can. Yeah. This is, by the way, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone on this podcast because this is usually the part of the year where we all convince ourselves like Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert don't know what they're doing and all that.
No.
And to hear you guys all talk about how good the Steelers are going to be this year is very funny.
Dog, we did this 2 years. How many times have we counted this team out? And they didn't exceed expectations. We did this the first year of this podcast. They won 11 games in a row. Yeah. And then they did it last year and they made the playoffs. Dog, no, we're done doing that.
How many times am I going to say this is the year the Steelers win 6 games?
We keep putting these boys in the dirt and they keep coming up like the Undertaker. I'm just going to if the Undertaker's retiring at WrestleMania this weekend, I still think he might have a match. I'm not counting.
Hey, Seth Rollins doesn't have an opponent.
Right. You know what I mean?
Okay, hold on. Let me get this in because I can't believe on the 1 year we're all like, man, the Steelers, they're still going to be good this year. I have to be the one to come in and be like, all right, well, let me explain how that might not happen. But here's my worry, right? Well, it's a real talk on Mitch for a second. We'll throw all the memes about Mitch out the window for a second. I agree with you guys that Mitchell Trubisky is a better quarterback than Ben Roethlisberger
last year,
but that's going than he was last year. And so this is I think a net upgrade at the position. And where I think he's going to be better is first and second down, right? He's going to open up the playbook in those ways, allow him to run more of the kind of moving the pocket, the play action, all the stuff that Canada wanted to do last year that Ben was just physically not capable of doing. But where I worry is third down, right? The money down situations. The Steelers last year were 8-1 in one-score games. 8-1 in one-score games. If you flip their record in one-score games, they're 3-13. And they were a 3-13 team a year ago. So the question is, we crap on Ben of what he did last year, and he wasn't good, but he was good down the stretch, right? He was good in those moments when, that late in games and you got to have it. Ben would come up clutch. Do I trust Mitch Trubisky? If the Steelers are going to play the same style, run the ball, play defense, ugly football, you're always going to have these moments in the fourth quarter, late and get 5 minutes to go and you're down by 3 or 5 minutes to go and you're up by 3. Do I trust Mitch not only to come up with big plays, but to just not screw it up for him? I think that is going to be the job of Matt Canada. That's going to be the job of Mike Tomlin and Mike Sullivan, the quarterback coach, is to get Mitch in that mold because that's where this team could be 6-10. Is they could be playing that style again. And it's very similar to what they did last year, but Mitch screws it up in those moments. And that's how you go from a 9-7 team with Ben, get a better quarterback, but not a clutch quarterback. And you actually fall back down to like 6.
I agree with that. But if Mitch Trubisky can actually score, because remember, the Steelers' offense wasn't scoring at all.
I know.
He can actually score.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tony, I'm rooting for you guys to be 8-1.
I know.
Yeah, because you
Just
don't want to
happy
be
middle.
the
You want
first
us in that
overall pick
purgatory.
to get the quarterback next year. I don't want that.
Yeah, no, we can't let them lucky to Bryce Young. Like,
8-1.
nah.
8-1, baby.
Hey,
Okay.
Vegas right now has the Steelers as the 10th worst team in the NFL. So if they get a 10th pick next year, that does put them in range. That's
we
straight
want
up
to have
range
the Steelers.
or
We need to have no. We need to have the Steelers in range of. Hey, maybe we might take a chance on Spencer Rattler after a rehab year. Like that's what I want to be.
You know what?
He was pretty good.
You just gave me that.
He was pretty good at Arkansas, right? That's where he's at now. Is Arkansas? He was like, he was pretty good at Arkansas in the SEC.
No, South Carolina. He's going to South Carolina. It's even worse.
What are the SEC schools that nobody actually cares about outside of like the state that they're in? Yeah, but it's going to be one of those deals. It's going to be one of those deals where that's why I want the Steelers to be right in the 15s, where they got to be like, yeah, well, maybe we could take a chance on Spencer Rattler. That's what I want them to be at, By the way, Spencer Rattler could have came out and he still probably would have gone in the first round with the rest of this quarterback class. Like he still made a bad decision.
I don't know.
He was bad.
He's such an asshole. He's such an asshole that I don't think he would. I don't think
he can clean that up. You could convince teams of anything at this point. Johnny Manziel convinced people that he wasn't going to party no more.
He didn't convince people. He convinced certain people. Okay, who had a track record.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one. You telling me you?
Yeah, but that
of the incompetence that. Yeah, but of the 32 of the incompetences you've seen from ownership at quarterback over the last 3 years, you telling me they're gonna be one that look at Spencer Rattler was like, well, he was a 5-star. You know what I mean? And he was a Heisman candidate. Maybe we got a number 1 overall pick by discount. Like, oh yes, Tony. People are talking themselves into Kenny Pickett with 8-inch hands. Like they will.
There was a reality TV show that Spencer Rattler was on in high school.
QB1.
Watching that, I was just like, no, QB1.
Yeah, that QB1 show tells you everything you need to know.
It tells you if you want to know about
he went up to his wide receivers, called them lazy, and then went to his backup quarterback and said, see, you throw these balls like that is exactly why these are terrible in front of the whole team, dog. Yes.
And this continues.
He is a capital J jerk.
Yes. Go watch the Oklahoma-Texas game when Caleb Williams comes in, and go watch the reaction of the sideline. Once Caleb Williams comes in and starts making plays, the sideline is going nuts. They love Williams and not only they love Williams, they hate it.
It wasn't even that they love Williams. It's just they don't like Spencer Rattler, right? And he was the other dude. Like, here's the thing with Spencer Rattler. He was so unliked at his university. It wasn't the grown-ups that was chanting for Caleb Williams. It was the damn student section that was chanting for Caleb Williams. Even the people who kick it with him was like, nah, homie need to lose his job and be humbled. At Oklahoma, where they had Baker Mayfield for 3 years. Like, you know how much of a jerk you got to be for Lincoln Riley to be like, man, this dude's too much of a jerk for me to put up with. Like, he put up with Baker for 3 years, dog. Like, that's crazy. And Baker Mayfield can't get a job right now because he's a jerk, right? Like, just solely because he's a jerk. He's playing good enough to be in the league. He can't get a job right now because he's a jerk. Can't get nobody trade for him because he was a jerk. Spencer Rattler was like 3 times Baker Mayfield. Like, that's crazy, man.
Okay, we have a couple other super chats here. Seagriff says, I know Watson skyrocketed the market for massive guarantee, but do you think maybe Burrow and Herbert may bring the market down? No. What would they do?
No, nobody's bringing the market down.
You think Joe Burrow's going to bring the market down?
Joe Burrow and Herbert are not bringing it down. I'll tell you that.
I don't think Joe Burrow, I think of a homeboy deal. Like, I don't think Joe Burrow does not strike me as the type of person that would drive down prices for the whole union. Like, that does not strike me as who he is. He gonna get market value. You know what I mean?
I wonder though if the next quarterback, like to get mega paid, right? The next guy who resets the market, is it fully guaranteed? That's my wonder now.
I don't know if it's gonna be fully guaranteed, but the guarantees are gonna be at least 200 million, right? Like
it's gonna be at least Watson level. If it's Kyler or if it's LJ or if it's Burrow, whoever it is, Herbert.
Not Kyler. I'm ruling Kyler out because Kyler has question marks. I want the guy who's a surefire, right? I want like the guy you think cannot miss. So that's why I think it's Herbert and Burrow for me are the two. Like I'm waiting to see when they get paid what it looks.
Burrow is interesting, right? Because I think he understands that he's not going to get the guarantee just because of the whole escrow situation. I mean, he might get more of a Patrick Mahomes.
Take a loan out, dog.
Nah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
gonna have to get that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Mike
What?
Brown.
What? How is he gonna? Well, here's the thing
Thank
though.
God we went to the
With the
Super Bowl.
Browns,
'Cause, I don't
You
know
own
how
an
that's
to
the
NFL
thing with Mike
franchise.
Brown.
Take a loan out.
Well, that's the thing
Yeah.
though.
nigga said
Like
one up,
The
dog.
NFL might
all,
even
like,
get
all of the Brown family's money, though, like in all seriousness, is wrapped up in owning the Bengals, right? It's really not wrapped up in a bunch of other companies, if I'm not wrong, if I'm correct on that. So,
No,
like with
it's on,
them,
it's
like
on the Bengals. Right.
yeah, it's all on the Bengals. They can't sell the Bengals to pay Joe Burrow or like sell stakes in them. They've
And
Yeah,
you
already
got to
sold
remember the
enough.
TV
Yeah.
deal. You got to remember the TV deal.
That's
the money that
this
they
is
get
when
from that.
this is going to be the thing that gets Mike Brown to finally sell the naming rights to that stadium, right? Is he got to pay Joe Burrow and he needed an influx of cash.
They're
Dog.
going to tell me they can't guarantee the money because they had to build the indoor facility, so they can't. They're sorry, we had to use the money.
Here we go.
They're building it now. They're building it now.
I'm dead
Indoor
serious though.
facility is being built.
They're building it.
Because what Mike Brown's been like dead set.
got
I'm
money.
never
He's
changing the
just-
name
they
of that
have money.
stadium.
Money they had because
Yeah,
the city
they want
has
an
to
NFL
pay for the
franchise.
stadium. They didn't even have to pay for the stadium. So
It's not even just like the Joe Burrow money, right? Because you have to assume, okay, Jamar Chase is going to get at least what 60, 70 million guaranteed in his deal. There's a whole crop of guaranteed money that you're going to have to drop on these last two draft classes that they have had there, and that's where that money is going to pile up.
That's why it
Yes.
is fortunate that we went to the Super Bowl because they've already sold out of like season tickets and all of that. That's why they're announcing like, yeah, we're building an indoor facility now.
Mike Brown is like, I need some cash, dog. He gonna call Jimmy Haslam like, yo, bro.
All right, let's sidetrack on some Bengals talk here. Do they, if you're the Bengals, do you pay top dollar to both Chase and Higgins, or do you let Higgins walk?
Do I have to choose between them? Because
Well,
I think like the way that I see this happening is Joe and T going together into free agency. I don't see Burrow saying that the Bengals can let T Higgins go, and I don't see him agreeing to Chase, obviously. So I think like one of the caveats of Joe signing his deal is that T Higgins is going to come back, but what that's going to spell is the end of the Jesse Bates era. I don't think that they're going to pay
Or
Jesse
Mixon.
Bates. Or
Let's
it
see,
could
years
Yeah,
from
potentially,
now.
Mixon's
that
is
one
good.
as well.
Um,
Yeah,
But I
That's
think
right.
I think Joe is going to want to keep T as a part of him coming back because if they don't have T, even if they have Chase and Boyd, that's not going to be enough. So I think that they're actually going to try to keep those two. There's probably going to be somebody else that's going to be on the odd front out. But I think that that's what they're going to do is they're going to try to keep those three together. Now, if it gets too expensive, and let's say T Higgins wants, I don't know, $27 million a year like Tyreek Hill, I don't think that's happening.
Right. That's my worry. It's like if let's say T wants less than, let's say he wants 20, right? But
If he takes the Mike Williams money, I feel like 20 is doable.
You
I
think
feel like
so? Because you're paying Burrow 50 and you're paying
Wait.
Chase
How do you-
30
But the
something.
way that's one thing everybody loves to call the Bengals cheap, but they're smart with the way that they do stuff like this because they'll roll over money from this year to next year.
Yeah.
They won't front load the contract.
Right.
So that they won't have to give up so much money ahead of time. And then generally, even though the Bengals don't usually give a lot of guaranteed money, they usually like essentially pay those guys out at the end of their contract. So like we've had guys like Pac-Man Jones, Leon Hall. It's like, why are you paying Leon Hall number one corner money to be like your fourth corner? Because they're just loyal like that. So most guys realize if they've done business with the Bengals, they'll pay you out. They're just not going to give you a whole bunch
Oh,
of
I think
guaranteed money
they
upfront.
keep both. I think they keep both.
Yeah, I
but
think they're going to keep both.
there's no way T Higgins gets less than 20. I mean, Christian Kirk just got 20.
I
Right.
think Mike Williams just got 20. Mike Williams is like the number for me
Williams
for
signed
T Higgins.
before Kirk, right? And then
No, didn't Kirk get 17 and a half? Wasn't it 17 and a half?
Yeah,
It was
when
close
you
to
look at
20.
the
I mean, I don't-
guaranteed, I think the person that has the most, I feel like Mike Williams still has more than Kirk because I just looked at this the other
is.
day.
I'm looking
when
at
we
it
were
now,
talking
yeah.
about Tyreek
Well, he's
Hill.
better than Kirk. Kirk really has done nothing.
Oh yeah, he's better than Kirk. But the
Yeah,
thing
but-
with Kirk too is that's why it's always an advantage for the Florida teams. Are technically Kirk is probably still getting the same amount as Mike Williams when you take Florida taxes out. So and he's taking
when you
Cali-
don't take
California
Florida taxes out, ching.
Yeah, you don't
All
take
right.
Florida taxes out. No state taxes. Yes, exactly.
One quick derail from the derail. All right, I'm gonna try to share my screen here. I want y'all to see this, right? So Watson, he is just Okay, so Watson on Twitter, you go on Twitter, on Instagram, he put up an IG story and he was like, oh, look at all these Browns jerseys I just got, right? It's all his jerseys and all the different colorways, right? On his foosball table, you could see what is a crumpled up Atlanta Falcons #4 jersey on top of it.
Oh my God.
No way.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And the comment section of this post on ESPN Cleveland has caught wind of that, and they have started posting the 3-28 Atlanta Falcons memes. It was this close for him to be a Falcon. He really had the jersey there. That's wild.
That's wild.
That's wild. It's just crumpled up there on his foosball table. Like, did he not know that it was in the frame?
or did he put it there because he wanted a little dig at Atlanta? One last little
Maybe.
For what? He didn't even entertain their contract offer. Alfred Blake was mad. He was like, why you ain't give me a chance to drop that bag on you? That you Jimmy let back. That's just interesting that he ain't cleaned up his basement in that long.
Mr. Whisper here says, Ace, what do you think the Bengals haven't picked up a cornerback yet in free agency with one like Bouye is done, by the way. And Nelson, I mean, you go ahead and pick Bouye if you want. Nelson's still out there. Is Eli Apple really our second cornerback? I just really had no faith that late first round, I guess. Cornerback.
Beat him out. I mean, that's a good point. I think unless it's Andrew Booth, I don't think that there's somebody that can really beat him out. But you got to realize, dog, you got to the Super Bowl with Eli Apple, and he played pretty well last year. So it's not like you have B.W. Webb. If you guys Bengals fans remember that. Remember B.W. Webb? Remember
he was
that?
a former Steeler B.W. Webb.
Yeah. Remember LaShawn Sims? Yeah. Eli Apple is not really that bad. Like, I get it. We definitely could upgrade at that position. But if we go into it, I feel like I'm confident with having Eli Apple there because he's going to play majority zone most of the time like they did last year with scheming him out of there.
Didn't you have Hargraves?
We did have Hargraves barely played, bro. Like what we did was we just loaded up with like former first round corners. We just loaded up that whole position with former first rounders. So it was him, it was Flowers at times, and then they had Hargraves. Anybody that used to be a first round corner.
Hargraves is a good rah guy.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about when Hargraves was on the field?
Yeah.
That was wild, dog. I was at the Super Bowl, so I didn't see it until like after the fact.
This is a good point about the roster construction the Bengals have had this year, right? Because the Bengals are in this spot. You know, everybody talks about this whole Super Bowl slump or whatever, and the problems teams have, improving the roster because they just want to run it back and everything. And look, the Bengals are not running it back. They rebuilt the offensive line almost entirely. I think 4 of the 5 guys are going to be new starters if you include Jackson Carman, who didn't really start last year until the bitter end. But I do think at corner, I was looking over their depth at corner yesterday and certain positions on the roster, right? One thing when you have a team like the Bengals who have all this cap space and they're not paying top money to their key playmakers, right? My question about this roster is where are their Melvin Ingrams, right? The Steelers brought in Melvin Ingram last year, not to be a starter, but to be a third guy at a position. That's the one thing about the Bengals this year. And it's only April 1st, so they have plenty of time to sign the Melvin Ingrams of the world. But it is like, if we get into the regular season, I do want to see this team sign more of those kind of guys who could just plug holes, not to be starters, but just a nice guy to have around in case things go south at certain positions. And right now you're looking at like, if Awuzie goes down at corner for the Bengals, disaster zone. You know what I mean? Or even on the offensive line, I think at tackle, right? If Jonah Williams goes down, disaster. At left tackle all of a sudden. So
I really thought the Bengals were gonna go after Gilmore. I mean, Gilmore's still out there.
He's still out there. The thing is, with the Bengals, another thing that they don't do, they don't like paying guys over 30. Like if you're over 30, they don't, because they got burned too many times in the past with that, with Carlos Dansby and just guys that AJ Hawk, like it just doesn't work. Like, so if you're over 30, they're just not really looking for guys. But I do feel like they actually did add some depth on the offensive line, not specifically at tackle, but at guard, I feel like they did. So if they do draft, let's say a Linderbaum or something like that, then Jackson Carman is their backup, and they still have Deontay Smith and some of those guys, rather than those guys being the first ones off the line, which was an issue for them last year. And if they do have guys like, you can't have I forget the guy that was starting right tackle.
Carman also played tackle in college.
Yeah, he played left tackle for
He has some
Clemson.
experience in tackle.
He played left tackle for Clemson, but his name escapes me right. Isaiah Prince, that's what his name is. You can't have Isaiah Prince starting. You can have Isaiah Prince as a backup, so a guy that can come in and do some things, but you can't have him starting. And so Denergy, that's the same kind of thing. So, but yeah, from a left tackle position, if they do lose Jonah Williams, they do need some depth there. But like he said, they do need to build on that depth. But I think that they will try to get some guys back in. I think Larry Ogunjobi is still a possibility to return because 3-tech. And what they'll do is they'll probably try to get some guys in the draft. And then after the draft, when those veterans are out there at a cheaper price, they'll probably get some of those. And then guys that get cut during like training camp, they'll probably grab one of those as well.
Yeah.
We got a couple super chat. Predator here says we do not like Williams. We hate rap.
There you
Rattler
go.
Moore.
That's really what it was. You know what
really
I mean?
what it was.
You ever work a job where the manager was bugging and then you got the one manager that was less bugging than that person? And you're like, yeah, okay, I like that dude more. Just makes it inflates your value. Nothing makes you better than having somebody mess up the spot than being the backup, right? Like that's just what it is. Like Case Keenum's value ain't never been higher because he was sitting behind Baker Mayfield this year.
Pirate King Usamaki says 14 is way too high for center, in my opinion. Casey has an elite center now, and it didn't help them get further at O.J. Johnson from FSU.
What's a center going to do against Joe Burrow? I'm just trying to figure out.
Look, I think he's saying it because what I said about the Ravens, one of my top 3 was Lindenbaum.
I wouldn't be mad at so we got to break away from this whole thing. Remember when Quentin Nelson was coming out and they were like, top 5 picks is too much for a guard. But it's freaking Quentin Nelson. You got to take some of these guys if they're there. Like if it's a center and you feel like it's an elite guy, center is a very important position on an offensive line. It's literally the quarterback of your entire offensive line. So to say that an elite center isn't worth it, that's going to make your entire line better. I mean, if Lindenbaum, if you feel like he's going to be a guy that's going to be an elite center, that's going to be an all-pro, you take him. I would take him. I mean, 14, I'm not mad about that.
I agree, but I can see the Ravens trading back and getting him. Again, it's not like 14.
Don't end up like us, though. Don't end up like the Bengals, and then you want who's the guy that went to the Lions? Because we wanted him. The guy that's the center for the Lions now.
The center?
The center for the Lions now. The Bengals wanted him, and we waited, and we ended up with Billy Price, and you know how that story ended.
But my whole point is,
man, if the Bengals would have just had
Frank Ragnow, by the way.
Frank Ragnow. Yeah. Frank Ragnow was the better center. That's who we wanted. We were like, nah, we're just gonna wait. And then Frank Ragnow went to pick before the Bengals, and then we ended up with Billy Price. And you know how that story ended.
I wonder if they would have drafted Frank Ragnow. Does that change that one play in the Super Bowl to where the Bengals?
If they would have drafted Frank Ragnow, that would change a lot because Billy Price was not good. We were coming off of Russell Bodine, who was one of the worst Bengals centers, and somehow Billy Price managed to be worse. Somehow Billy Price managed to be worse. That was bad, bro.
Damn, man. If y'all would have just made that one decision, you would have been celebrating the Super Bowl.
Oh, my God.
There were
that
too
close.
Many.
Oh man,
the worst.
You had Andy Dalton and Pat Mahomes. There's too many.
But you could live with passing on Lamar Jackson because you got Joe Burrow, so you feel like, all right, you ended up pretty good there, right?
That's true.
But passing up on the center,
Ace
came in handy.
Don't entertain him. You're giving him fuel.
Bro, you was in the building too. Oh no,
okay.
That stings.
No mistakes. Ravens does not have the talent to win. Roster is bad.
The Ravens roster is bad. The only question with the Ravens is they had so many guys who had season-long injuries, right? Like injuries that were. It's not like we should just shut them down for the year. It was like this guy literally cannot come back until next season. That you just wonder how many of those guys are going to recover quickly versus how many of them are going to take a little longer, right? Some guys come back and they're completely fine. It's just like they were never injured at all. Then other guys.
It's it doesn't even look like the same guy. Yeah,
exactly. They lost a step, or
they come back better because they were fresh. Fresh legs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it depends on if they go to the. Listen, the example of this is Adrian Peterson.
Trey Hopkins. What?
Adrian Peterson tore his ACL and then ran
like
for 2,000 the next year.
Yeah, he came back in like 6 months. Like he had a late ACL tear, came back, was ready for camp, and had the best year of his life. And that was the last time we took ACL injuries as serious as we used to, right? Because that was before then. It was like if you get an ACL injury, he might never be the same again. It's going to take 3 years for that to recover. If it does recover, we used to treat ACLs like we treat Achilles tendons now, and even then that's starting to be lessened. And then AP had that 1 year, and we was like, dog, these ACLs, you could come back from that and play the same year. Like we have completely changed the math.
How do you guys feel about the Achilles with the Ojabo guy? Because I've seen people like acting like it's not a big deal. Like, hey,
I mean, if you're young, you're young and you have an Achilles tear, the numbers show that you can come back and be yourself right after that, right? Because Grant Delpit, athletically, he was still Grant Delpit last year.
But then
you look at like Cam Akers, right? Cam Akers had that Achilles tear and he came back. Yeah. Well, no, you're going to miss a year, right? It's like Jameson Williams, right? Jameson Williams is going to miss a year because of the ACL tear, but you don't think you're losing who he was as a player anymore, right?
But he's I agree with that. But there's people thinking that I've heard. Now, maybe it might just be Bengals fans, but they're saying like they feel like Ojabo can still play this season. Like they're like, oh, he's going to do the Cam Akers
they're tripping on that one.
And he can play this season, so you should take him in the first round. And I'm like, nah, dog. It's gonna at least have to be second round or third round.
No, you should take him. I think back half of the first round you can still take him. You're gonna have to redshirt him for a year, but
it's like when Jalen Smith. Well, I mean, this has had a couple of Miles Jack was a similar situation to this, and then Jalen Smith was a similar
both in the second round, early second.
Like you're gonna fall to the second round, but teams are gonna feel like they got a first rounder. But we'll see.
I got to derail, but we'll move on. It's too mean. My derail is mean. It's about HGH, so we don't have to go there.
Okay, so what's your guess?
That's not a sponsor of the show, Tony. It's not sponsored by HGH.
So
that's my question. Is like we stopped talking about HGH, and then we talk about these guys coming back so quick. But anyway.
Modern advancements in modern medicine is the company line.
In modern medicine. Yeah.
Okay, so Treeball here says, what's your guess at AFC North team primetime game? So Browns and Ravens will have primetime, and Browns and Bengals will have primetime. I'm disappointed on both of them. And then Bengals and Browns will have primetime. And the Ravens and Steelers have one primetime game also every year. But between the Bengals, I would not be surprised if between the Bengals, Ravens, and Browns, all 6 games are primetime.
I disagree. I don't think they'll do it's too many. It's too many primetimes from one division.
Yeah.
And so the question is, who is CBS going to protect, right? Who is CBS going to say, hey, you can't have these? And
but you know what they can do? They can put us in Thursday. One of those can be a Thursday game.
I don't think Bengals-Browns is a primetime game.
Well, here's also something. That's probably going to be a primetime game if it's late in the season. But here's one thing to point to, right? The AFC West is the other really strong division right now. They're going to eat up a lot of those 4:30 spots just because of their time, right? So they're going to be the 4:15, 4:30 game a lot of the time anyways. So that opens it up for other teams. Now they got to fit other teams on schedule. I think it's interesting here because I think Bengal fans going to be mad as hell when they realize that like they get like 3 national TV games. They still don't hit the max because the NFL still kind of disrespecting them in that way, even though they made the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, but like, you know, the Steelers are going to get at least 3 national TV games because of the size of that fan base. Lamar is going to get at least 3. I don't know what they're going to do with the Browns, right? The NFL might not want the Browns on national TV all the time, especially if like they're good. It just might not be a bad look given like all the controversy around Deshaun Watson at this time. We'll see. Or they might see, you know, people are going to tune in for that. I don't know what the NFL is going to do with that. I'm not going to try to predict what the NFL does because they're inconsistent. But the Bengals, like they should have like 6 primetime games. Like they should absolutely hit the maximum. They're a fun team to watch. So I think they'll probably have 6. It just knowing how Bengal fans act, it's going to be funnier if they get 3 because like they absolutely do feel disrespected when like they don't get those national TV spots. And it is kind of disrespectful, but they should. They have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow.
The worst one was last year when it was like Herbert and Burrow, and they didn't flex it, and they picked like some other boring game. It was
like Kirk Cousins in the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, Dallas, like that. And that's what I was going to say. It's like we have to remember that those NFC East teams are going to eat up the primetime games, not because they're great teams, but because what the NFL wants is not a great game. They want great ratings, and those teams always bring the ratings. You know, Bengals Browns is going to be a fun matchup. Does the NFL believe that Bengals Browns is going to bring in more viewership than Cowboys Eagles?
you got to look at it like this. It's not really Bengals Browns as much as it would be Deshaun Watson versus Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, right? Like that's what people are going to tune in to watch. Nobody's going to really like look at the teams and tune in to watch that, right? With Lamar Jackson, it's not really about the Ravens. It's just people want to see Lamar Jackson, right? Like that's just something people want to see. It's very fun to watch. Same thing with Deshaun Watson. He's a fun player to watch. Like he's an entertaining person to have out there. Joe Burrow is extremely fun to watch too. So like that's probably going to be what factors in it. The Steelers are the one team where they'll get those national games based on brand alone, right?
We're getting at least 3.
Yeah, because you know you're gonna pop a 2-5 if you put the Steelers on there, no matter what, right? Like that's just what. So they'll get like those. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers national TV they're gonna have a Browns Ravens and a Browns and a Ravens game.
That's what I think.
Definitely as like Sunday or Monday Night Football for them.
The Fight family. I don't get this thing. Wait, did I miss something? And I'm forgetting. Am I forgetting something?
It's got to be a reference something earlier in the show, but I can't think of it.
We derailed so much we can't even remember.
Yeah, I know. We've derailed off of derails, and it's
Ray says
the derail verse.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think will be your team's cap casualty when you finally have to pay your QB? As a Browns fan, I think it probably be Ward for them.
I think the Ravens cap casualty gonna be Lamar Jackson.
No.
To pay Tyler Huntley? I agree.
I agree
with that. They gotta get the John
They
Harbaugh
gotta
money
lock
somewhere.
down
Like, what are they gonna do?
the backup. You know what I mean? Like they've locked down everything else, right? Like
For the
backup
Ravens,
and then Lamar.
you know who they won't sign, I think? Hollywood. And that's his boy. But if Lamar breaks the bank, I can see them saying, well, Hollywood, because I think Hollywood would be like, well, Kirk over there makes 17. I can at least make 17 or 18.
That makes sense. Hollywood's like a receiver that's good enough to get paid, but not necessarily somebody you want to pay.
Yeah,
I think for the Steelers, like they don't have any cap casualties because they have. I mean, next year they have $100 billion in cap space next year. So, you know, they only have like 20 players signed to 2 contracts next year. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see this year if they re-sign Deontay, because Deontay is up for a contract after this year. And so did they get that done before opening day? There was a rumor earlier in the offseason that he wanted $17 million. If I can get Deontay with what they're paying wide receivers now, if I can get Deontay for $17 million, yep, sign me up for $17 million for Deontay. Other than that,
crazy that's like a good deal now because
I know, right?
Was at 15 and people were like, that's crazy that you gave Odell $15 million a year. Now it's like it's a bargain. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Like the Odell number was a bargain when you got him.
I don't know that there are other. Trying to think if there are other. I mean, Devin Bush, they're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, probably. So you know,
probably.
Yeah.
Did they just sign Miles Jack like that? It's probably a wrap on Devin Bush right now.
Well, they signed Miles Jack, but they didn't. You know, it's not like they signed someone else too, right? Because
is Joe Schobert still there?
No,
they cut him.
Oh, they let Joe
Schobert. Cap casualty for the Bengals.
T. Higgins.
I mean, it's Jesse Bates.
It could be Jesse Bates. It's hard to say cap because technically cap casualty, you already gave them the deal, right? And you're getting out of that deal to save the cap savings. I was gonna say maybe it could be Jonah Williams, where they just don't bring him back.
That would be big
because it's too expensive. Because they already paid Lyle.
What do you pay Jonah though? Because he's not a top.
I mean, left tackles are expensive now. Like you'd have to pay him like 20 plus.
Would you rather have Jonah Williams or T. Higgins?
T. Higgins. I mean, I was on the wrong side of this with the Civil War.
I'm about to say like that changed my mind too.
T. Higgins, T. Higgins for sure.
Hawks here says, isn't Lindenbaum too small? Well, he has short arms.
No, not just short arms. I know you have a web browser pulled up, Sonny. Go to mock draft. No. Actually, I'll put the link in our private chat. So
mock draftable.
His
chart is like comically small. Like he has like
chart. It doesn't. I mean, it basically doesn't compute. His size basically doesn't compute. He is like the 1 percentile of everything.
Oh, is he light? He's at 6'3", but he's only 291 pounds.
296. His wingspan is literally as short as any center has ever been in the National Football League. You know,
bring him to the second round. I'll take him in the second round for sure.
Yeah, he is small. J.C. Treader's 6'4", 307.
I think
to be honest, I'll also be good if they sign Treader.
Hold on. Because what Nick Harris is also a center in the NFL right now. He's going to start for the Browns, and he's tinier, right? He's like what 6 foot. Yeah, he's 6'1", 293. So I mean, like it could work, right? You just can't. You just won't be able to flex him to guard. He's absolutely a center though. Like you cannot play him anywhere else.
Hey, he's Billy Price. Same thing. Billy Price has the same measurements.
Yep.
Billy Price. And then what? Nick Harris had smaller. Nick Harris played well, and he had smaller measurements than that, though. So I mean,
I need to tell Zim that because he's big on Linderbaum, and it was not big on Billy Price.
I mean, look.
The tape looks good.
No, yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say the tape is not good. It's excellent. It is like all pro level. Matters. Yeah. So,
can he play football? Is the question, right?
Yeah.
Luis here says, "Hey guys, long time no see. What would be the most absurd hot take that can you think?" Oh, here's Tony.
What's the most absurd hot take?
Well, at this point, right, you don't think Mitchell Trubisky win an MVP is an absurd take.
I don't.
The most absurd hot take. I cannot even think of one right now.
The Ravens will trade Lamar Jackson for 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, something to do with the Lamar. The Lamar contract situation is not just it's a boiling hot take right now. It's a simmering hot take, I should say. It's not boiling yet; it's simmering.
The Ravens will trade Lamar Jackson to the Seahawks for Jamal Adams.
And this offseason, which all of this crazy stuff has happened, I don't think that there are any more hot takes.
That is true.
Anything is believable. That's true.
Yeah.
The NFL, the season where the NFL turned to the NBA.
Yeah, this is one of the craziest off seasons I've ever seen before.
Lamar about to get the max when he hits free agency.
Mason here says Kyle Hamilton is apparently dropping, which means the Browns will get him in the second round.
If the Browns get Kyle Hamilton in the second round, bro, this is rigged. This is absolute. I've never been a NFL is rigged guy, but if the Browns find a way to get Kyle Hamilton, that means that Andrew Berry must be pulling strings there because that's impossible. Impossible.
He won't get by. I don't think he gets by this. I mean, I don't think he even gets to 20, but if he got to 20,
I don't think he gets past 10.
He's one of the 5 best players in this draft.
But that guy's right. The guy who wrote this in, he's absolutely right. You keep hearing these people. What I love about the draft community is that we build up in our minds who the top players in the draft are. Then they start talking to scouts. And they say, "Oh yeah, man, we have Kyle Hamilton top 5." And then the scout goes, "We don't. We don't. No, 30 player." And then all of a sudden, weirdly, all these guys like Daniel Jeremiah starts dropping Kyle Hamilton down the board, down the mocks, and it's like, why is this guy falling? It's because they're talking to scouts who are telling them, "You're way too high on Hamilton. We're not high on him." It happens all the time.
That don't mean they right. Like,
no.
Yeah.
As a player, I'm judging him as where he's going to go.
Yeah,
so one thing
that's insane, though. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. Yeah, you're good now. I can't imagine that all 32 teams are this incompetent that they will let that man slide to the second round. Like that's incompetence at that point.
So for me, my problem that I have with this whole board shifting up and down, I get irritated with that, to be honest, because if I think about a guy like Daniel Jeremiah or all these people that are scouters, right? Like. You scouted by by February or March, you already have your scouting reports on all these guys. What is it that is bringing you up or down that drastically?
They're talking to scouts, and scouts are telling them you're wrong.
My point is, all these people, to be honest, I just think they just need material, so they move them up and down just to move them up and down. I think they should have all this done by February, whatever, right? I mean, that's that Daniel Jeremiah, Mike Mayock when he used to do it, the guy from ESPN, all these guys, that's all they do, the scout, and then they just once the draft is over, okay, see you in 6-7 months, right?
But no, I wouldn't say that the Daniel Jeremiah guys do that. They just watch the film like before the draft. But these other guys that have been scouts, they've already been watching these kids since like last year. So there's nobody that has, in my opinion, more of a better opinion than NFL professional scouts over the mock draft guys.
Yeah, it's just interesting the influence of peer pressure, right? Because I don't doubt that Daniel Jeremiah, Bucky Brooks, all of these scouts, they do diligent work. They probably work all year. They study this and they have their own opinions. And then the second somebody in the league's like, well, we don't think Josh Allen's gonna be good at quarterback. They changed their mind too. Like it's just like it's an effective peer pressure where people just like once they feel like people in the NFL are doing it, they jump on it just because they're afraid to be wrong. But you know, the truth of the matter is that not all 32 teams are good at this, right? Like there are some teams out there that are just not good at this,
right?
And they make bad decisions, and stuff happens. Like Tyler
Cleveland
Boyd
Farrell
slipping
goes
to the
fourth
second round.
overall.
But Aaron Donald went 15th in that draft, which now seems like a mockery, right? Like it's just or JOK slipping to the second round. Like we've seen this happen a million times. Nick Chubb, right? Nobody thought that Nick Chubb would be the best running back in that draft, and he was the fourth running back taken in that draft, second from the Georgia team, right? People talk themselves out of a good player, and I never underestimate the league's ability to talk themselves out of a good player.
The other wild card too is you got injury flags that you don't know about that might not be reported on that happen during the check-ins, and then you have off the field stuff that people might not let you know about either. So then there's all kinds of different things where, because you always see that one random guy that's falling. You're like, why is this guy falling? Like this guy was projected into the first round. We're sitting here in like the fourth round, dog. Like what's going on? And it's because they have done like that I guess diligent research on figuring out some kind of red flag about someone. And that's always the hardest thing to find out is the medical red flags and the off the field flags outside of the guys that are being talked about, because even when you hear about Kayvon Thibodeau now, you're hearing people talk about like red flags for off the field stuff. And this was a guy that was projected to go like number 1 overall last year. And now everybody's like, oh, he's not even in the top 5. So when he ends up going like 6th or 7th and then ends up as being one of the best guys, it's not going to be a shock to me because he was expected to do that. But then the flags kind of come out and throw some of these guys down too.
Yeah, I think the thing that I was like this time of year, I like to pay attention to the difference between, especially the guys who I think are more connected than others. I think Matt Miller is pretty well connected into the scouting community, and I think Daniel Jeremiah is pretty well connected. Yeah. Watch the difference between their big boards, right? The big boards that they're putting together, which this is who I like, versus the mock drafts, right? It's like this guy thinks Kyle Hamilton's the 3rd best player, and he has him going 15th. It's like, okay, well, then he's hearing around the league, but the league doesn't value Kyle Hamilton as much as he himself does. And that's why
because of safety. I think that's because
it could be a safety. Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, I think it's safety. Yeah, positional value and safety.
Please let him fall to 44.
Oh no, dog. He's not falling past the Bengals.
He's not getting in the second round.
Yeah, you know who I think.
But there is a domino effect of like you could get Louis Cine or Daxton Hill.
And also, like sometimes what happens when these players fall is that teams panic, right? If Kyle Hamilton's there at 20 and your team picking at 20, you thought Kyle Hamilton was going to go top 5. All of a sudden, you're like, something's got to be wrong with the kid.
What do they know?
And what do they know that I don't know? And then people start questioning yourself, right?
He may go to his birthday party. Class.
It happens all the time. That's what happened with JOK, basically, was JOK fell because people thought there was an issue with his heart. There wasn't. Just teams didn't want to. Teams valued the other linebackers over him, and that's why he fell to like 20. But by the time he got to 20, everybody was like, why JOK falling? Does he have a heart condition? Is he going to die? And then like all of a sudden, Browns will swoop in there like 55 and take him or something like that.
So Trey Ball here has a question for Tony.
Oh,
Mitch or Duck?
Duck
has your heart though.
That's tough, man. Duck, I always call Duck's the one that got away. Duck's the one that got away.
Oh, okay.
Now, you realize that you just did the Tony curse with the Mitch shirt. Because everyone that you had merch for, they do good at the beginning.
I'm disappointed that he already got the Mitch shirt because I'm like, dog, do you not remember what happened to Pierre once you got that Pierre shirt? It was a wrap for his whole career after that. You ended that man's career after you got that shirt. The Duck hat came out. That was the end of Duck. The Canada hat. That was the end of Canada.
Coming back. It's coming back. Listen, I told Sonny this before the show started. Listen, when Mitch Trubisky, I was on vacation the week that they signed Mitch Trubisky, and when they signed Mitch Trubisky, I was not so
tipsy.
So this shirt came across my Twitter timeline shortly thereafter, and
they knew. Right back here says it was funny that Romo and Nance acted like they never watched the Bengals. but they called the first Bengals Chiefs game. They literally watched the same exact game already with the
But they
exact.
spent half of that game not talking about that game. If you remember that first Bengals Chiefs game, they spent half of that game talking about if the Browns or Steelers could make the playoffs, if the Bengals lose a game after this one, right? Like that was the whole broadcast in the second half. They were this amazing game. They were talking about like everything else. So I'm absolutely sure that they forgot that they
Remember when
game.
Romo was just like, let him score. Let him score.
Nah, I was
Why
on that.
isn't he letting them score?
I was on that team. Let him score
I was
too.
team let him score.
Yeah.
He definitely team let him score.
This is
Let him
football, man. You can't do that.
No. This has happened, Ace.
Yeah.
Multiple times it worked out where you
score.
just let that man score because you want to have Patrick Mahomes touch the field. But then you let the Bengals just run out the clock on you. Should let him score.
Let him score.
Yeah.
Mike Holmgren was right. Mike Holmgren was right.
Remember
Let
what
us score,
happened?
bro.
Bold reference to Super Bowl 31, I think.
Remember what happened? I think it was to the Lions, or maybe it was Atlanta, that they were trying not to score and they fell and scored. And if they wouldn't
Oh,
score,
it happened to the Atlanta Falcons because it's the only franchise that can happen to, right? It was Ty Gurley. He fell into the end zone. They scored a touchdown, and then they lost that game because they let I think it was like the Saints touch the ball after that. Yes, this is dog. I'm team let them score. You know what I mean? Because you got to get out on the field, especially since they changed the overtime rules of the playoffs. Oh, it's gonna be team let them score all the time.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I was gonna point out there was a game. I believe it was the Falcons playing the Saints, where the Falcons went up by 1. We're going to 2 to go up by 3, and Matt Ryan threw a pick 6 and they lost by 1.
A pick two. A pick 2 on a 2-point conversion. They scored the touchdown and led the game after that, and then on the extra point lost the lead. Dog, it's the most Atlanta Falcon thing ever. This is the funniest franchise in football is the Atlanta Falcons. Like we can go down a list of Atlanta Falcon moments. Remember they had the man of the year who got caught with the prostitute the day before the Super Bowl. They had Mike Vick got caught fighting dogs, and then Bobby Paterno just left the team that year. Like it can only happen to the Atlanta Falcons, dog. It can only happen to them.
Okay. With that said, we're gonna do a quick little mock draft here, and we're gonna keep trying to do mock drafts every week, probably for the next couple of weeks. We'll switch.
Dog, one last Atlanta Falcon joke. Atlanta Falcons went into this offseason thinking we either gonna have Matt Ryan or Deshaun Watson, and now they starting Marcus Mariota. They have Atlanta Falcon the existence this year, dog.
I think they just said let's just suck for quarterback.
And they gave away Matt Ryan for less than what Carson Wentz went for. How did that happen?
Yeah, third.
1/3.
Yeah, 1/3. Yeah. Let me go in. Sydney, Mexico here says, greetings, everyone from the Texas Panhandle. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for that donation. Okay, we'll do this quick little mock draft, guys. You can trade if you want. You can trade back. You can do all sorts of things.
Can you pause it if Malik Willis doesn't get taken by 7?
Yeah, I can pause it.
Yeah, you can pause the draft.
Yeah. Pause it if Malik Willis doesn't get to 7.
The whole future.
I'm about to.
Okay, ready? You guys are ready?
I'm ready. Let's see
I'll
where
pause
Malik
it at
goes.
7.
Hayden. Okay.
Kyle Hamilton.
Let's go. Trade.
You
Of
want
course,
to
the
trade?
Lions pick Kyle Hamilton 2nd overall.
Steelers with the Giants.
I want 3 number 1s.
Steelers.
God, I don't know how much that's going to take. 2 firsts and a second is what I'm
I
willing
want
to
3 number 1s. I
Not
want
3.
the Deshaun Watson price.
NFC Giants. Next.
I'm giving 2 firsts
Oh, so
and a
this
set
year's first?
and yeah.
If you
What's
want 2
2021?
firsts, hold on, wait. If I'm the Detroit Lions, the 2 firsts is only if you give me 2 future firsts. So you got to give me technically 3. This is a pick swap.
2 firsts.
This first is a pick swap.
2 firsts.
This is a pick
and
swap.
Second. This is it. I'm dealing
This
with
is a
Dave
pick
Gettleman
swap.
right now. All right, it's Dave Gettleman I'm dealing with. He's a moron.
Two firsts and a second. That's what you want?
Yeah, 2
No,
firsts.
no.
With Danny Dimes, dog.
2 firsts.
Likely.
and a second.
Offer acceptance likely.
No, Tony. Here's if you want Dave Gettleman this thing: 2 firsts, a second, and it will give you Devin Bush, who we took in the first round. So that is 3 first-round picks. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it's Gettleman anymore. By the way, I think he got fired.
Okay.
But
Sam,
he retired.
I hope he did.
Retired.
fourth? You
no,
want a
no fourth. Just send it.
Send it.
Send it.
He was worried about giving up a 4th that he's not even.
Let's
gonna take.
go.
We're doing 2
Give it
rounds.
Malik Willis. We did it, boys.
So you
Oh,
want
the AFC North.
So
is
Kenny
the two
Pickett, right?
quarterback looks we're about to bring out here with Mitch and Malik Willis at the same
Kenny
time.
Pickett, right?
Draft another
Pickett, right?
linebacker. Draft another
Yeah, give me
linebacker.
Trevon Walker's on the board.
Let's go. 2 firsts and a second. It's a lot to give up for a quarterback who has a very low floor, but he's got a real high ceiling.
Oh, the Ravens got a trade offer.
get trade
Move
off
back
for
4
here.
spots.
Move
All
back.
the
For
corners
extra
went too.
4.
Baltimore, what you gonna do, Sonny?
Tell him to go to hell.
Yeah, no, not for that.
You saw all 3 corners went too, right?
Did it?
Sonny, you gonna draft the quarterback
Yep.
who's available?
Andrew Booth,
Yeah.
Stingley, and Sauce.
You might want to get Ritter here. This is a good spot for Ritter.
Nah, like if the Ravens are 14 here, like there's a couple plays I can see Jordan.
Ooh, stay away.
We know who
Red
he's
flag.
not getting. He's not going receiver. We know that.
I can see
Receiver
Jake.
not
There's
high
Linderbaum.
on the board for Sonny.
No, not Linderbaum.
Come on, take a Boye Mafe right here.
Yeah, I'll go Jordan.
Yeah,
I'll go
14.
Jordan.
No, stop
Come on.
it.
Just keep him
Yeah.
out of the North
We
altogether.
just got rid of
I'm
Calais
good.
Campbell.
Okay. All right.
Anybody wants to trade up?
No, I'm good.
Nah, dog. I'm
I'm
good.
gonna
We
trade
good.
back in again. Get Kenny Pickett.
You
You might as well
Okay.
trade for Baker Mayfield at this point.
okay. We have here. Oh, Pickett is there. Tony.
Oh,
He
you
always
got
lasts
an
20
offer.
whenever
What's
I
up,
do.
Jacksonville? What's up, Duval?
Oh,
What
you
we
gotta
talking
take
about?
that. You
What
gotta
we
take
talking
that.
about?
It's only
Two
4
picks.
spots, and you pick up an extra 3rd and a 6th.
No, but wait. They have
Oh, they want your second.
Whoa.
Nah.
Well, you
dog.
move. Well, nah,
Nah,
that's
we
a
good on
terrible
that.
deal. Decline that.
years just to move one back.
Extra
You
third.
have
Well,
to say that.
they keep wanting your
me-
2nd round pick.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
trying to get me to move up. Nah, I'm good. I don't need to move up.
What
No,
is it
move
in
back.
it for you
It's your
for an
pick.
extra
It's your
6?
pick.
You're moving back 2 times for an extra 6. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's a weird. This is a weird.
Yeah.
Nah.
I love their
none of
years
that.
are wrong. Their years are wrong
Nah.
on Draft Network.
I don't know what's going on with Draft Network's trade.
Their devs got to get the year updated.
Yeah, he's got to tighten up.
Yeah.
I'm good. No. Pick no. That means I'm not getting a pick. All right.
Kenny Pickett, the next Joe Burrow. You can have 2 of them.
Let me see. Perrion Winfrey, man. What's
Hey,
up?
chat. Wait, stop.
What's up?
What are you doing? Hey, hold on. What are you
What's up?
doing?
Welcome
What are you
to
doing?
Cincinnati,
No.
Welcome to
Stop it.
Cincinnati, Perrion
Stop
Winfrey.
this. What is this?
Perrion Winfrey?
Wow.
You need that
Wow.
3 tech.
Well, I don't have a
You
second
need
round. I just
Wow.
traded it away, huh?
Need some
Hey.
depth
Wow. I should have traded up. Wow, I
Okay,
didn't
let me
know.
see.
Desmond Ritter went to
Hey,
the Seahawks.
Matt
I
Corral,
can't trade
still on the
Baker
board.
Mayfield. See what y'all done did to me.
So here I'm looking because I stopped before the Browns just in case the Ravens want to trade up before the Browns. Yeah,
Why? You already have your interior D lineman.
yeah. But,
Where are the Browns going? Safety?
well, the Browns could use edge as well, right?
No, they got the guy Chase. We talked about this last time.
Winovich.
Chase Winovich.
Yeah, he's gonna eat them
Set.
up.
Edges. Go to edge. Can you sort by edge? Because I haven't seen any edges that I
I'm still not over.
go to
the
that
A's
position. I think you
getting
hover
that
over
me.
position.
I had
And
to,
then
bro. I had to, man.
Yeah.
I think I have hiked them up to my own detriment.
Yeah, we're
I saw that 3
They
tech.
win. They all win.
I knew I didn't want
all the
either.
good ones. Yeah, all
Yeah. Like, where is it?
Damn, all right.
He went
all
to
these wide receivers that win.
What number
Yeah,
are we
what
at
wide
right
receivers
now?
are left? Is George Pickens
Nice.
still there? Should I trade back up for George
Oh,
Pickens?
Elam had already went. All
Would
right.
y'all chill out?
Well, it's Q's pick.
All right. No. I'm picking here. I'm picking here at 44, Tampa Bay. All right. Let me see what wide receivers available. Okay, we are at wide receiver already. Got a good selection here. I mean, George Pickens, David Bell, John Mechie. Yeah, but I'm not too hot on any of these dudes. Let me go see what IDL is looking like.
DL.
IDL, right there at the top right.
Yeah.
Travis Jones, I feel like I can sneak around, get him in the 3rd round. And I got a couple other ones. I can't believe people are. Look, I know this sounds disrespectful because he's only at 137, but that's way too high for John Ridgway. I've seen the tape. I've seen him at the Senior Bowl. That man's not going to have a long career. Let's go to Edge. All right, man. Let's take Logan Hall right here.
Oh, boy.
He's not an edge though for me. He's a 3 tech. So they got the position wrong. He's going to be a 3 tech, maybe some occasional 4-eye, but he's never going to see the outside shoulder for tackle.
Sonny, what are you thinking here? So you got your D lineman. You still haven't you didn't get your O lineman though.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that guy's still available. My goodness.
what is Tony trying to pull here? Is he?
I can't get
excited
back
about
in.
Matt
I can't
Corral?
I already got Steeler fans yelling at me in the chat for the trade I made to get our future quarterback. Yeah, really, years from now, after Malik Willis wins 3 back-to-back Super Bowls, we're really going to go, Tony, 2 firsts and a second was too much to give up.
It wasn't even that much. It was just a pick swap in the first.
Yeah. No.
And then also Devin Bush. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even that much.
Hey, Sonny, can you do me a favor before you make your actual selection? When you figure out who you want to know, because I want to see if I want to make a trade, look at corners before you make your picks, just so I can see who's there.
Petrie's still there, huh?
All right.
Yeah. This corner class is bad, by the way.
Trash.
After you get out the top 3, I don't like it.
Yeah. I think I know what Ace was looking for Kobe Bryant.
Nah, I wasn't looking for Kobe. I was trying to see who else was left from the top.
You see,
Petrie's all right. Sam Howell.
And here, ideally, if any decent centers will be here, I'll go with that. The Ravens need an edge as well. The problem is, I started watching the Kentucky guy, Pascal.
Mm-hmm.
He's okay. It's nothing great. Like, if I want a Pascal, I would trade back. But I'm not. There's nothing here for me to trade right now.
Boye Mafe, man, that's a perfect.
I've heard good things about Drake Jackson, but I haven't watched any edges this year because
I think I have watched Drake Jackson.
Did Boye Mafe go already?
No, I think they probably have him low. He's like, isn't he a day 3 guy right now?
Who?
On a lot of boards.
People are up and down on him. Boye Mafe. Click show drafted.
Here.
There's no way he's below Majay Sanders. No, show drafted on the little box.
Show drafted next
Yeah,
to
it's a little checkbox above.
On
It's
the
right
right,
next to
players
it.
available.
Yeah,
There
right
you
there.
go.
All right.
Oh no, they got 32. Okay, no, he's moving.
Yeah. I was say no. Boye Mafe's no way like under Logan Hall or anybody like that at edge, right? Should have took him at 13. You got the most athletic edges in the NFL right now.
All right, Sonny, I'm gonna trade up with the
ideally,
I gotta trade up with the Vikings, dog.
If he's there, I'll take him. Right? If he's
Joe
there at 45, I'll take him. But
Jabba?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the Browns probably gonna get him at 44.
Wait, who did you take? Who did you end up taking?
Look at this. You didn't even have to do it.
It did it for me.
Yeah, the computer saying.
So I'm giving us a 4th to move up.
4th
and a 6th. Yeah, let me take that, bro. Let's go.
With the 6th round today, so it's not.
All right, let me see my corners. Man. I have to take them. Sorry, guys. It's gonna have to be McCreary. It's gonna have to be McCreary, unfortunately, because he's the only one left.
Yeah, he's the only other one that I like.
Yeah.
Matt Corral,
short arms though.
46.
Another short arm guy.
So
Joe Burrow, you know what they say? Small hands. Joe Burrow has small hands.
I'll do it because
you're moving up. Where are you going?
They were big enough to hold that AFC
Wait, where are you going?
Trophy. Though.
I don't know. The computer called, and they said the Ravens want to call.
Boy, you should take Petrie.
Running back. Breece Hall, J.K. Dobbins replacement.
Tony Hayden. Jalen Petrie would be a good pick there, though.
Hold on, isn't running back's a somewhat of a need for Baltimore, right? Because you can't put all your money on Dobbins and what's the other kid's name?
Gus.
Yeah,
Gus the Bus
coming back, both from season enders.
George Pickens is still there.
Yeah, I'll go with Pickens.
Come on,
let me trade up. Okay, take it. Thank you, Falcons. All right, let's go. I want the big boys. Let me get the beef.
What?
Defensive side. IDO.
You just took a pre-tech.
I need 2.
Quincy, you didn't lie when you said you like the big boys.
I love
Travis Jones. Yeah,
Travis
give me Travis. Give me Logan. All right, we're set. Oh, we're good. I didn't get Perion Winfrey and Jordan Davis, but I got the Perion Winfrey and Jordan Davis you can get at home. You know what I mean? Like
for the first AFC North mock draft this year. And by the way, I know there's super chats. I'll get to that. The Steelers only made 1 pick.
We got our boy
Willis.
Well, they got their guy.
They got
their
guy.
Ravens
This is what look. Can I say something real quick about trading up for Willis? Here's why I hope the Steelers do actually make this trade and trade up. Because I think if you are drafting a quarterback, I think the big thing that teams do that is the reason why we have so many busts in this league. Is you don't take the guy you love because it's going to be too expensive to get the guy we love. So we'll settle for the guy we like. And I think if the Steelers, if they are in this mode where they want to have a quarterback and they've looked at all of them, we know that they love Malik Willis. So if you love Malik Willis, then go get that guy and try to figure it out. Don't settle for, I guess Matt Corral's still there at 20 and everybody else is gone. So I guess we'll just settle for Matt Corral. That's bad process. That's how you end up with bad quarterback play. Malik Willis might be a bust, sure, but give me a chance at the guy I love and not the guy I like.
I mean, and like QC say, that trade was not bad. You swap first, you get an extra first and a second. That's not bad.
Yeah, to go up 13 spots.
So Jordan Davis for the Ravens, and then Cincinnati, Perry and
I hate both of y'all. Why did y'all do that? Like both the guys I like a lot in this draft class, y'all gonna make me have to hate them.
Hey, we needed that 3-tech, dog. We needed that 3-tech. He was the best one available, and then Elam Elam wasn't even on the board. I thought Elam was still there, but he wasn't. Like all of the corners were gone.
Yeah.
That's so Logan Hall there for Cleveland, Baltimore, Cameron Thomas, edge. Then Bengals get Roger McCreary. Baltimore gets George Pickens, and then Cleveland Browns, Travis Jones.
Can't never have enough beef.
Yeah, that's true. That is
true. That is absolutely true.
We get here, Mitchell says the need for Q to get some hand warmers in December.
Oh, because the Browns are actually going to be playing meaningful football in December, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, shout out to that, Mitchell. I don't know what that joke was, but shout out to you. You did it to yourself. It turned on you. Have fun cheering for Mitchell Trubisky to get the 6th overall pick.
Matt Mosley, shout out to you. Love the show, fellas. Longtime listener. Hootie. Ray Rack here says Ace has been watching your period.
I did it to myself. I did it to Bengal fans have peeped on to that, right? Because Ace ain't the only one. There are other Bengal fans that are like, nah, he ain't getting past us. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What you talking about? No, stop. Sign Larry Ogunjobi right now. Sign him right now. Come on. Just sign Larry Ogunjobi right now so I don't have to worry about this.
I told you, Q, the best policy in this division is don't have favorite players because when you do,
you're
going to the opposition
teams, dog.
No, it happened with the Ravens last time. I was like, man, I like J.K. Dobbins. Like when he was coming out, and then the Ravens took it. I was like, of course.
I think in one of the mock drafts, I think Sonny took T. Higgins. Ironically,
I mean, again, I have loved players that has gone to all your players, right? I mean, I disclose here, like Fairmonth. Wilson and others. It happens.
We all like JOK last year.
JOK.
There was one that Quincy that I think he went to the Ravens.
Matabuke.
Oh, Matabuke? No, I said Matabuke from day one was a Raven. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a dude who would terrorize me for the next 5 years. Matabuke.
He's good too.
Sonny, you just drafted his replacement. So
no. I drafted the person that is going to play with him.
Okay.
Campbell's if
I guess you guys lost Wolf and Campbell, right? So
no, Wolf is here. But
we lost some size with losing. Like imagine being the Ravens. We lost some size with Calais Campbell, so we're just gonna replace that with 100 pounds more beef and faster. Like that's just come on, man.
What about Brandon Williams? Is he back or no?
No, he's free agent right now.
That D line is home.
Yeah.
We'll saw.
Yeah. That's why we need Davis.
Oh, and they lost Big Brandon. You can replace 2 players in one right now.
Well, we got Pierce. We did get Pierce back.
Michael Pierce ain't like Brandon Williams though.
I love Brandon Williams. I love Brandon Williams.
Downgrade.
Falcons.
Downgrade.
Okay. So Falcons owner said when interviewed that if Watson shows them, he would have done some more research into Watson and may have reconsidered trading for him. Trying to save face in the media.
Everybody try to act like they wasn't trying to do it. It is like, dog, everybody got caught red-handed. There were 13 teams in the sweepstakes before they limited it down to 4. Like, everybody was trying to, everybody was trying to do it. Now you trying to mend your relationship with your quarterback and everything else. Like, yeah, I get it. People going to say what they want to. It is what it is. Look, people going to hate the Browns for now. It is what it is. Especially since they reset the league on that contract. I told y'all the NFL owners were going to be salty about that, but it's just funny now. Oh man, the report came out. You've already snitched on yourself that when the contract came out, you were mad you couldn't match it. Not like you were morally outraged and he got this contract. I don't know why NFL owners are acting like they actually care about the morality of this situation because they aren't the ones to tell me anything about that, given how they have handled a lot of things.
Now, the one last
True.
thing I'm gonna say here before we leave: have you guys ever considered doing a big cut for a player? Any
Trade everything for a player?
for one player that you love. I have one said it on record that I will do that on YouTube.
Was it
Yeah,
for okay? I'm trying to think of who it could have been for.
It was for
me?
What year was it? Can you give us
Josh
a year?
Rosen.
How many years ago was it?
2 years.
2
ago.
years ago.
2 years ago.
Had to
So
have been for a wide.
Lamar.
2 years ago, we're talking about peak Lamar. Had to have been for a wide receiver then. But who was the good receiver before Chase? Oh, Justin
Was
Jefferson?
it Hopkins?
No. Justin Jefferson wasn't the guy in that draft, though.
I know.
It
No.
was.
Oh, it's in the draft. Okay.
Yeah, for the draft. Like
Who's
this
gonna
kind
trade
of,
up for someone?
Oh, trading up for someone.
He was going to trade up for a player that he really
Was it
liked.
Mike Williams?
No. Mike Williams before that. Well, who was in the Justin Jefferson draft? I'm trying to think. Oh, no, not the
2020
Who was the other
draft?
Alabama receiver?
2020 draft. Wow.
you guys don't know me. You guys don't know me.
Well,
It
you're
had to
listening-
be a trenches guy. It had to
was
be
it
somebody
CD
in the
Lamb?
trenches.
You guys
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know
Nah, it wasn't a receiver. It had to be somebody in the trenches. Fat guy.
fat
He
guy.
loves the fat guys.
Was it a D? I mean, but 2 years ago they had Calais Campbell. They had Brandon Williams. They had. I mean, why they didn't need a D lineman back then?
Had to be
Maybe
He
an
loves
O-line?
offensive linemen.
But they had Orlando Brown and Ronnie Stanley.
Was it somebody in the interior?
Thank you, Smodious McChickens. Get your McChickens with your mayo. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. You don't know, huh?
2020 draft, and you're looking to move
Yeah,
up.
let me see.
We're
Let me
thinking
double check.
trenches,
I
guy.
think it's 2020 draft. I'm pretty sure it was 2020 draft.
2020 draft?
Okay,
Sonny
so the
doesn't like
2020 draft is
receivers
Burrow.
like that.
Yes.
Well, that was the draft where there was like 5 offensive lines.
Were you a
right?
big Andrew
So maybe
Thomas
it was
guy? I remember you
Makai-
not being an Andrew Thomas guy.
Was it Mekhi Becton?
Oh, okay. It's got to be okay. If we're doing this, it had, and the discussion was about a player who went to another team. Was it Jedrick Wills?
No.
No way. No. Jedrick Wills does not appeal to the Ravens. He's only really
Tristan Wirfs?
No.
I don't think it was a lineman. I don't think it was an offensive lineman.
Okay.
Oh, was it Chase Young?
Yes, I would have.
Okay, yeah,
traded
Chase-
my whole
okay.
draft.
Okay.
My whole draft.
Edge rusher, I
Chase-
forgot. Pass
Yeah.
rush by that was back in pass rush by committee days.
Yes, I would trade one draft. The whole
forgot
Pass
about
rush
that
by
meme.
committee. Oh, man.
We're going back to that this year.
Oh, pass
No,
rush
you
by
got
committee.
got
It never left.
You got a Dafe. What you mean?
yeah, come on, you got to
Dante,
stop with
we going-
the always slander.
Look, First of all,
No,
look.
the other side.
First of all, the Ravens can have the funnest edge tandem in the NFL. If they get Boye Mafe and Odafe Owe. Like, dog, that's a shirt right there. Boye and Odafe. Like, I'm buying that pilot, dog. I want that. And the crazy thing, they're similar players, right? Like, they're converted athletes into the edge, and they're just fast as all hell. Boye Mafe and Odafe. I'm here for it, dog.
But Chase Young, I said, man, you trade whatever for Chase Young. That for me would have been amazing. I love Chase Young. Last year,
This is
All right,
one that
we gotta end
I'm
the show.
not like proud to admit, but like when Jameis was coming out, I would have given everything to draft Jameis.
there you go. That's your dick up
That
moment.
was-
That's your dick up
that was a true dicker moment because I was like, ain't nobody gonna do what that man did. He was Michael Jordan of college football. Like I thought he was Joe Burrow before Joe Burrow came out. I was like, no. It's Jameis.
He had an
It's
arm.
gonna work.
He had an arm.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of why I was holding out on this whole Baker thing. I was like, hey man, we get Jameis. Like, I'm willing to roll the dice on it.
30 for 30.
I wasn't necessarily going to trade away everything for him, but I was, the year that there was a million quarterbacks, the Baker, Lamar, Josh Allen year. Oh, I was all in Josh Rosen QB1.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
my guy.
There you
Josh
go.
Rosen QB1.
The one guy I didn't want in that draft, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Those are the two I was out on. I was like, nope. Because I'd have been on like it was right after Deshaun Kaiser, and he was high ceiling guy, and I was so out on high ceiling after that whole experience. I was like, I don't want nothing to do with no damn Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. I was on the whole wide receiver thing, like he was going to be I was so wrong about the 2018 draft class. I thought Sam Darnold. I didn't like Sam Darnold, but I was like Josh Rosen.
Believe it
player
or not,
right there.
AFC North is probably not going to believe this. I thought that Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield were going to be the best two quarterbacks out of that draft. I thought that Baker should go number one, just because I felt like he was better than Sam Darnold and Rosen, and I felt like Lamar was going to be the next best one.
Baker was the guy I was like, I'm cool with Baker if we take Baker at 1. Like,
I didn't like Josh Allen. I didn't like
Baker.
Josh Allen. That was the one thing that I was wrong about. Was I couldn't believe how people were so high on Josh Allen.
No, I thought Josh Allen was so sorry coming out of Wyoming. Like it changed everything on how I look at these quarterbacks. I'm like, he's not even good at Wyoming. Like it was. That was wrong. That was wrong, dog. That was
the one quarterback.
Draft, one person that I would trade probably everything for Sauce Gardner for sure. Sauce or Sauce. I wasn't gonna say maybe Stingley, but Sauce. Yeah,
Stingley's tough. Stingley's tough to
trade
away from because he's got all the question marks.
I would trade all my picks in this draft for 2 players just to get them on the same team. If I could get Jordan Davis and Perion Winfrey in the same draft, I would not care if I drafted anybody else after that. That would be it. I would have the best defense in football. Have that next to Myles Garrett. You're going to re-sign Jadeveon Clowney. Good luck, bro. Good luck trying to run on that. And JOK's hovering over top. Have fun. 5-man box all year.
The player I don't understand why he's not higher in this class is Andrew Booth. I've watched a lot of Andrew Booth, and I don't understand how he's not considered a top 10 pick in this class, like easily.
Yeah. I agree with you on that, Tony. Like when I watched the corners in here, it was Sauce, it was Stingley, and Booth were in a class of their own, and then for me, it went down from there.
Yeah.
I got one last question since we got on this topic, right? 2017 draft, that's a Myles Garrett year, right?
Yeah.
Where were you on quarterback at that Myles Garrett year?
Myles Garrett, let me
go back.
Quarterback's taking word.
I was on quarterback for a while with Andy Dalton, dog.
Yeah. Mitchell Trubisky.
When Teddy Bridgewater was coming out, I
thought Mitchell Trubisky.
Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson year.
I was Watson 1, Mahomes 2, Trubisky 3.
I was Watson 1. Yeah.
Me too. Watson 1.
I did not believe in Mitch Trubisky. I'm sorry, Tony. I did not believe that because he was like a wide receiver the year before or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah, 1 year wonder.
Yeah, I was like, no.
This is another area in which my low floor aspect of quarterback rankings have bit me in the ass because I was like, well, Watson 1. I wanted Watson that year. Trubisky 2 because I was like, and then I was just like all out. Cliff Kingsbury was his coach. Pat Mahomes, that whole situation, I was just out on Patrick Mahomes. Like my Cliff Kingsbury hatred goes much further than him coaching at for the Cardinals. I did not like this man when he was at Texas A&M as an offensive coordinator for Johnny Manziel. I have been burnt on Cliff Kingsbury. And I was like, no, I wouldn't take Patrick Mahomes. I got mad when people were talking about the Browns potentially taking Patrick Mahomes if he failed at 12. And I was just like, no, he's not worth it.
I didn't know much about Mahomes at all. I remember the guy that I was working with at the FSU Foundation at the time was like, there's a quarterback that I really like, Pat Mahomes. I think that he has a chance to be the best out of all of them. That was the first I heard of him. And he damn sure ended up being right about him. I was like, Pat Mahomes definitely was that guy. Yeah, I was going to him and saying, like, why aren't the Jags going to take Watson? And they were talking about Fournette, who I thought Fournette was overrated that draft, too. I didn't think Fournette was going to be the best running back. Dalvin Cook was really slept on in that draft.
Because I like Watson so much coming out of Clemson because I just watch him just like destroy my dad like 2 times in a row whenever they played Ohio State. My dad just be crushed because Deshaun Watson just crushed him. Yeah. I was like, after that game, that Fiesta vote he had where he just destroyed Ohio State like it was butter. I was like, that's the best player in this draft. I liked Deshaun Watson more than I liked Myles Garrett, but I understood that they had to take Myles Garrett. Like you could not take Myles Garrett right there, right?
I was not a fan of John Ross, but I was also wrong because I loved Reuben Foster. And John Ross is still playing. Reuben Foster is out of the league.
Dude, I love that draft. That draft.
Those are the fun ones when you didn't like the bust that you drafted, but you wanted a bust that somebody else took.
I like Jonathan Allen too, but
Mr. Trubisky made a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, they give out Pro Bowls like
they give those out, bro. Andy Dalton made one. Like they give those out.
Look at the first 5, right? You get Garrett, and then you get Trubisky, Solomon Thomas. I thought he was going to be better. Leonard Fournette,
Solomon Thomas is so garbage.
Yeah, and Corey Davis, right? Then you get Jamal Adams at 6, Mike Williams at 7. Really good.
Who's been better between Mike Williams and Corey Davis? Because at the time I was saying Mike Williams was going to be better.
Dog. You know who got to be kicking themselves? The Philadelphia Eagles, because they really took Derek Barnett with TJ Watt just sitting there.
Ooh.
Like,
I couldn't believe TJ Watt fell as far as he did in that draft.
Me
I
neither.
knew Derek Barnett coming out. I was like, man, that is mid if I've ever seen it. Like, that man is 6 sacks a year. Like, everyone's like, he's so developed. I'm like, no, that's mid, bro. That's mid.
So
if
for
you ever
me,
seen it.
that year, I wanted TJ Watt. That was my favorite player in that draft, right? Because for what the Ravens were gonna pick. I'm not gonna lie, I was upset when they picked Marlon Humphrey because I
was wrong about Marlon Humphrey, dog. I had like Dre Kirkpatrick PTSD where I didn't believe in any Alabama corners after that, and I was wrong about Marlon Humphrey. I will admit that.
Marshawn Lattimore, Patrick Mahomes, Marlon, Jonathan Allen, Evan Ingram, Tredawn White, T.J. Watt, Buda Baker, Devin Cook.
Hassan Reddick went before TJ Watt. Like, this list is disrespectful to TJ Watt of the edge players.
So many. Charles Harris. I mean, it was like
Charles Harris was
Taco
Charlton.
Taco Charlton. Yeah.
Taco Charlton's on the team now, right?
Well,
McKinley went before him.
He's on the squad, dog.
That is so disrespectful. They really disrespected TJ Watt. Like, I think that motivates him at this point.
Cleveland could have gone.
Cleveland took David Njoku right before TJ Watt went.
Yeah. 2 guys to Steelers in that class too, which is funny.
Yeah. Cleared the board, right? You know, it made the decision a lot easier, right?
made it easy for him. All right, TJ.
We could live in a world where the Steelers drafted Jabril Peppers and then don't trade for Mika Fitzpatrick because they got Jabril Peppers. Correct. We could be living in that world right now, but no, the Browns had to take Jabril Peppers.
Another, I mean, you know, people mock the Terrell Edmonds pick all the time, but Edmonds being like, I mean, not necessarily a failure, but just not like a great player is another reason why they had to go get Minka. Yeah. It is funny how that works.
Juju and TJ in that draft.
Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And James Conner.
Well.
Anyway, we can
Juju
have
and TJ in that draft.
So, guys, we're gonna have more draft discussion coming up. Obviously, this is the month going to the draft, and as we said before, we're gonna be here live on draft day 1. So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for coming. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And on your way out, give us a like. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Have you